Oh, okay.
Oh, hello, you insouciant long pigs, and welcome to the live stream, I guess, with me, Sam of SGO1, your humble host. There we go. I've got the banner up there. I'm new to this. Bear with us. I've put the banner up there. I don't know what I've done. Let me see. Let me see if I can sort this out. I'm Sam of SG1, your humble host. I'm here with Mr. Nosey himself.
Hello. How are we doing?
When I can get this fucking banner off, hang on. I am having all kinds of problems today. It was going fine last night when I was playing with it. So anyway, John, so how's things?
Oh, not too bad. Just working and all the usual spill. And just trying to get back on track. Now that work's back to normal, try and get back on track with reviews and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And videos and vlogs and stuff. And yeah, just that's pretty much been me really. Just getting back to normal after Christmas.
Usually the case, isn't it?
Yeah.
Usually the case. Sorry, I will get this sorted in a second. You can tell I don't do these regularly, can't you? There we go.
There we go.
Right, so yeah, Christmas always messes things up, doesn't it, and gets in the way of things.
Oh, it does. It takes up all your valuable time, and I barely had a chance to even blink, let alone do anything else.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching, I'm still trying to work things out. I'm just making sure we're broadcasting on YouTube, which we are, which is awesome. So, okay then. Now how do I do chats? Like I said, I'm gonna get things sorted out, and how do I do chats on here? Let's see. Because I don't know how to do these things. I was working fine yesterday, but today I don't seem to want to do anything. There we go. Let me just see if this works.
It always does happen when on the day that you want to do a stream, always something happens. Either you need to update your computer or something, or the drivers are out of date, or
that's it. Yeah. Just gonna check on YouTube see if we're broadcasting again. So, I say it was working fine last night. You know. So just mute that so we don't listen to that. Right. Okay. I think we're okay. There we go. Got them. Found them. So we're going. All right. So John, what did you get for Christmas? Did you get any robots?
Well, yeah, I did. And my dad got me Transformers 1 on
Nice.
Blu-ray, but unfortunately, it seems my disc is a bit faulty.
Oh no!
I tried to watch it tonight, and all the audio on it was breaking up. Only the bonus stuff seemed to work perfect. So I'm having to reorder it. So my dad's going to pay me back for another copy. Well, anyway, I got Transformers 1, and then I noticed In Demand had some promotional stuff going on. So I managed to pick up the YOLO part model kit of G1 Megatron, which I've already built and reviewed.
Sweet.
And then I got Swoop.
Nice
Swoop. So I now have all the Dinobots.
I got him just after TFN because I had it on pre-order In Demand, and I about 3 or 4 days after TFN it showed up, and I was like, "Ooh, yeah, it's a good thing. That's a really nice thing."
Yeah,
so
I'm pretty happy. I've got all the SS86 Dinobots now. So
Sludge and Slag still elude me. But hopefully they're getting reissued again. So you know,
who knows?
Because Grimlock's been reissued about 100 times at this point. I got 40th off my sister 40th anniversary blaster, which is very nice. Studio Series 86 Brawn, which I've just reviewed. Check it out. And she got me a Transformers 1. You know, one of them two-step changer things.
Oh yeah.
One-step changer things where you press a button and it pops up, and it's a lot of fun really actually. But she's like, something a bit extra. I was like, sweet. So and off my dad, I got the Comics 2-pack Flame and Emirate Zarin.
Nice.
So then, let's get into this, shall we? Let's react to it. It's been cancelled.
Yes.
I kind of knew this was coming because there's been no news. Sorry.
I think a majority did.
Yeah, because there's been no news coming out for a long time, and I'm thinking, is this still on or not? You know.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can put the. I don't know. How do I add the? Do you know what? I'll do that next time. But yeah, I was going to put the link in. But basically, let me read the. I've got the thing here. Let me see now. Where did I put it? It is here somewhere. Should have been prepared. But you know me, professionally unprofessional. Where's the statement gone? I can't find it. Marvelous. Well, basically, it's been cancelled. We kind of knew it was coming. So what do you think, John?
It's like you just said a moment ago. I'm not overly surprised it's been cancelled because there's been literally next to nothing of news or anything from it except for them 2-packs, the toys 2-packs that are meant to be based on designs from the game. And that was literally all we got in a physical sort of release of something happening about this game. And then we saw the trailer for it, like a little teaser for it. And then nothing for a long, long time. And then all of a sudden it's finally come out. And I'm not overly surprised it's been cancelled because I don't know what's going on in regards to that, whether it's Hasbro pulling plug on certain things because certain things not performing as well as I would like, or if it's I don't know what the reason is.
I think it's a combination of all those things because apparently the engine had been rebuilt twice, and I think the lack of success of Transformers 1, which we'll discuss a bit later on, I think hasn't helped either, and I think maybe Hasbro have kind of gone, well, if it's not ready, cancel it, kind of attitude. But I don't know for sure. They just went, look, we're not doing it anymore. It was basically the statement, wasn't it? And because a lot of people were looking forward to it, and like you say, the only thing that's come out of that is those 2-packs of figures, which apparently they're getting re-released individually as well, which is good fun. The figures, I don't have them yet. I need to get them, but the figures look great. You know, and I'm like, because when I saw, I think it was either Bert the Stormtrooper or Patriot Prime's review of them, might have been Patriot Prime, and I'm like, these guys, these are pretty cool, and if that's what they're going to look like in the game, this is going to be a right good game. Like you said, there's just been no news whatsoever since they announced it. So yeah, but like I say, I think it's because of Transformers 1 not performing as well as they should. You know, and which brings me neatly around to Transformers 1 actually, because I think because Hasbro did make that statement when it came out that they are pulling out to move it. Yeah. So I mean, what does that?
They're pulling out they're stopping to co-fund them, aren't they? So
yeah. Which again brings the point of, well, you know, what does that mean for the future? Does that mean they're not going to put any money in for the next Bayverse film, for example? You know,
who knows? I mean, I don't know what that means because apparently they didn't really contribute much to Rise of the Beasts. Apparently, Hasbro didn't really put much money towards co-funding for Rise of the Beasts. So I think that was fully through Paramount themselves. So apparently, I think that for a while they've been sort of like pulling the strings with them for a bit since Bumblebee. I think so. It's one of them. I mean, I don't know what the future brings. There's a lot of like staff movement at the moment behind the scenes at Hasbro as well, isn't there? There's been people let go.
Yeah, because the lady in charge of Magic the Gathering got fired, didn't she, recently as well? Yeah. There's been a lot of you're right. There's been a lot of movement floating about Hasbro.
So there's a lot of unknown things going on. Also, they pulled out the Power Rangers thing.
Yeah, that's weird as well. I mean, where wasn't the Transformers Power Rangers crossover?
Yeah,
You know,
they cancelled the Lightning Collection toy line.
Yeah,
so that got cancelled, and yeah, there's all sorts of going around. It's not just Transformers.
Well, and G.I. Joe, but it comes down to them not. Well, there's a number of factors actually. Yeah. One of which is, 10-year-olds, which is what these toys are aimed for, aren't being played with by kids. They want a fucking Xbox and a PlayStation and play Fortnite, right? Yeah. So all of that adds to it, So then you've got that. Then you've got they're not advertised very well, especially in the UK. I mean, not just talking about Transformers, anything Hasbro really. We're not even going to get onto how bad Star Wars figures are at the moment, but they're pretty, but it just seems like everything comes out is already on clearance. I mean, I've seen In Demand have stuff on their website, brand new out, and in a couple of weeks on clearance, which is great because it all look like a bargain. But when you're doing that for mainland toys, because again, there's so much stuff coming out, and then you've got, like I said, the factors of what another thing that comes down to it is there's so many. If you just look at Transformers, especially, there's so many versions of Optimus Prime out on the shelf, right?
Yep.
So that doesn't help. They need a bit more cohesion, because if little Timmy wants the Optimus Prime, and little Timmy's grandma goes out for Christmas, say, and then she goes to a toy shop, and on the shelf there's 10 different Optimus Primes, all in different size classes. So which one does she buy? To the grandma and parents, they're not going to know the difference, are they?
No, definitely not.
And so there's that, and then but like you say, there's no. Everybody knows about Transformers and this whole 40th anniversary thing, right? It just seems to have come and gone, if you know what I mean. There's no big fanfare. There was no advertising, especially for the 40th anniversary when they showed the first 4 episodes at the cinema, right?
Yeah.
I only found out about that by pure chance. Somebody put it up on Facebook, and I'm like, oh, wait, what? They're doing that? Why wasn't that on TV? Or, big posters in cinema, or, adverts on, adverts in magazines and websites or anything like that. It was just somebody put it on Facebook. I'm like, oh, check my local listing. So, and I went to see it. There was about 10 people in the cinema.
Yeah.
There wasn't even a poster for it at view.
I know. It's mad because they're like, as you say, I completely agree. There's nothing at all. You don't see any advertisements on TV for like the toys.
No.
Like, not like they did back in like G1 days, where you had the really good commercials which would get kids excited for the toys.
Yep.
Because it's all subliminal messaging, isn't it? It's all about subliminal messaging with the adverts. It gets kids' attention. So, like, mummy, daddy.
And the one thing that Transformers commercials did that the other toy lines didn't do is they had clips from the cartoon, or rather, animated style like the cartoons slipped in. Yep. Obviously, later on, like Micromasters, it was a little different, but they had little cartoon segments that reminded you of the show. And they also played the theme tune, and they also had Frank Welker, Peter Cullen, and all the voice actors doing the voices. Whereas if you look at all those adverts from the same time, He-Man, Master of the Universe, that's the same thing, isn't it? He-Man, Real Ghostbusters, Mask, and all the big toy lines of the same time didn't do that. So that was why I think Transformers, was better advertising back then than it is now.
Yeah.
And also it comes down to this is the 80s, right? When I was a kid, you could go in any shop in the UK, be it a supermarket, a newsagent, a bookshop, or whatever shop you were in, you would find something Transformers.
Yeah.
Right? Because it was posted, the toys coming soon and all this kind of stuff. It was in back to comic books, magazines, you name it, the logo was everywhere. Now, they did the same thing in 2007 when the Michael Bay movie came out. There was posters, there was adverts, there was, adverts in magazines. That you name it, the name and the logo was everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Transformers 1 comes out. I didn't see I saw the first trailer when it was announced on YouTube, and I'm like, okay, I'm not impressed, but I'll see it. And that was it. And then they saw the next trailer, and then I was like, this is what are they doing? It was not come and see our film. It was kind of like, I mean, okay, I guess whatever shots were ready at the time, they put them out in a trailer. Understand that, because that's how these things work. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't do a film like, they didn't advertise it like they did an Avengers film or or any other film really. It was just kind of like, it was silly, and I was like, I don't want to see this. But when I went to see it, fucking loved every second of it. I think it was a great film, but I'll get into that in a minute. But like I said, the only thing I saw for advertising sake was one poster in St. Stephen's, right?
Yeah.
In Hull shopping centre outside, there's a coffee place, Costa Coffee, and on the back of it is a few cinema posters for the cinema that it's real in it in
real.
Yeah. Real cinema inside St. Stephen's, and there's about 4 or 5 posters up, one of which was Transformers 1. Only poster I saw. The only other advertisement I saw was on the side of a bus, and it was only on one bus I saw, and I was just waiting for it. And I'm like, oh, okay, that was it. Nothing else. No TV spots, no radio spots, no magazine spots. Not that people read magazines now, but you know what I mean. Nothing like that. Now I don't know if they're in the kids' comic books that they bring out these days with a stupid sticker, thing on the front that's sellotape to it.
Yeah.
I don't know because I don't read them obviously, but but there was just nothing anywhere. Nothing at the bus stop where you see cinema posters sometimes. Nothing, just nothing. Yeah. And the film came and went, and it's a shame because it's a fucking damn good film. But it comes down to, I think there's a lot of people with franchise fatigue because a lot of people didn't see Rise of the Beasts for the same reason they didn't see Bumblebee. It's for the same reason they didn't see Dark of the Moon or whatever the last one was. The Last Night, was it? Was it Last Night?
The Last Night was the last Bay one. And that was the one that caused most of the issue, I think.
Yeah. And I think people at that point were like, nah, I'm done with this. If I want to watch it, I'll watch it on streaming.
A lot of the general audience were getting sick of the Bay. Michael Bay's version, and everything that came after that was kind of like very similar to Michael Bay's thing, even though there were different people directing the films.
Yeah.
And I think, even though, like, obviously us that understand Transformers, we know what's going on behind the scenes. We look into it all. But the most for general audiences, if you're just going to feed people the same stuff and not anything different, you're going to get this problem of no interest. And especially with kids, because kids are drawn. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some decent action in the Bay ones, some good car chases and stuff like that. But when it comes to the story, and when it comes to the fundamentals that make the film, they just don't make sense.
Well, it's because I've said this to many people. It's like, don't get me wrong, I think the first Bay film is a good film. It's not the best film.
Yeah,
it is a good film for what it is.
It's the better ones of his, yeah.
Yeah, and it's probably the only one I'll go back and watch. I mean, I haven't watched it in a while. I've got it on Blu-ray somewhere up on here, but it's not one I go back to. I mean, I've watched Transformers 1 3 times since I bought it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've watched the 86 movie more times than I can fucking remember,
A million times.
I mean, there's people that are into Transformers because of those movies. That's great, that's fine. But the thing with it is, though, and this is what that annoys me the most, is the fact that all the films are the same. And that's why I get confused which one's which, because I'm like, is that Dark of the First Night, the Last Night, or whatever, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh, that's the first, Mark Wahlberg one, that sort of thing. And I'm like, oh, right, got you, right, okay, you know what I mean? And that's, I mean, like yourself, we're big fans. We'll go see we will go see anything. I didn't see The Last Night in the Cinema. You know, I was that kind of like done now.
I unfortunately did, but regretted it.
Yeah.
I almost walked out with that one.
Now, you see, that comes to the next point with cinemas at the moment, not just talking about Transformers, but cinemas in general, is a film will come out at cinema and 3-4 weeks, a month to, 6 weeks later, it's on a streaming service.
Yeah.
So people have gone, well, I'm not going to go and spend, especially Transformers 1, say, so you've got a family, say you've got 3 or 4 kids, and you want to go take them to, 2 or 3 kids even. You want to go see the film, you're doing 30, 40 quid at cinema. And in this day and age, that's a lot of money to go watch a film. Because the kids are going to want food, they're going to want drinks, and then in the US, you get a nice popcorn bucket, don't you? Not here. Not in the UK, you don't. So there's that. So why think, well, I'm not going to spend 40 quid when I'm spending, $8.99 or $10.99 or $11.99 on Netflix, for example. Well, I'll just wait, 2 months and it'll be on there. Done.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's almost like it's not just Transformers, it's most things like that. It's like, well, give it its due, but don't put it on a streaming service. Wait till it comes out on fucking Blu-ray first before you put it on a streaming service.
Yeah.
Sorry, John, go on.
That's all right. No, I was just going to add to that because don't get me wrong. I think streaming is a double-edged sword a bit. I mean, it helps stuff that's, say if it's a series, say that is developed for that streaming service, say Disney Plus, for instance, that they make their own stuff to put on that service, same as Peacock, same as Paramount, so and so.
Yeah.
It's dedicated for that. Fine, brilliant. But when it comes to films, I think that's what's killing it. It's also what's killing cinema as well. Because a lot of cinemas are reporting, like View, Odeon, that they're in crisis themselves because they're not getting enough people through the door buying tickets.
Well, it also comes down to, just to interrupt for a second there, also that's a part of the problem is the offerings we're getting from Hollywood aren't great at the moment.
Yep.
So people are thinking, well, why should I go waste money on that film? And Madam Web, for example, not a good film.
Yes.
I never saw Disney Star Wars films, apart from Rogue One, not good. So I can understand why, cinemas are reporting this because, it comes down to, why waste your money on a shit film? I mean, that's what you did, though. I mean, I've gone to pictures and come out and gone, that's fucking garbage. I'm not watching that again. What a load of shit, But I saw the trailer and it got me excited and I saw the posters, whatever. It looked great. Go to see it, load of shit. It happens. Sometimes it happens. Right?
The thing is, trailers are very deceptive, though. Sometimes to bring the deceptive into Decepticon, they're pretty deceptive. It's just that the thing is, I never go fully by trailers for that reason. Is that you get a trailer, it gives you an idea of what it is, but they deliberately put the best bits in the trailer, and sometimes they shoot stuff specifically for the trailer. That's not
Marvel, especially for that. Yeah, the famous scene where in Endgame, in Infinity War, we see all the Avengers with the Hulk running down towards the camera wasn't in the film. Yeah,
exactly. So,
I mean, technically, that's false advertising, to be fair.
It is false advertising, but it's one way to get bums on seats, and then when people notice it's not that good, and like the general audience's perception of it's coming out, you're gonna lose interest and lose faith in that franchise. Like, look at the Terminator franchise is another one that's been destroyed through that.
Oh yeah. After the second one, they get progressively bad.
Yeah.
So just one second. Sorry, carry on, John.
No, you're all right. It's just it's just like getting onto the Transformers 1, like you were saying, with like advertisement with that. There was nothing until was it the week before it released when it started coming to TV spots. I think that's when I noticed a TV spot like the week before it came out in the UK, and then I started noticing. I think it was the day before I saw it. I had a radio spot for it, and I was just like, I mean, there's one thing. Also, there's another thing I noticed with it as well is that they didn't play all of the trailers at cinema. Because whenever I went to see a film and the played Transformers 1 trailer, it was always the first one that was the wacky, funny one that 10 people away from.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, why aren't they updated it with the story-driven trailer? Because that would have actually gravitated some attention. Because
I think that should have been the first trailer, quite honestly, because the funny back, and I'm like, because I saw it, I'm like, is this where we are now? It just seemed like, modern day audience, for example, and I'm like, this does not, and it's probably because I had the same reaction, and I think probably other people did. Going, well, that shit, I'm gonna go see that. I'll wait till streaming, to watch it.
Yeah.
But, and I said to everybody, I said you should all go see it because it was a lot of fun. I really thoroughly enjoyed it.
I did. I thought it was a great film. I mean, when I first saw the first teaser, I was like, "Ooh, no," because it's too wacky races kind of thing with a humor, and I was just like, "Oh, no." And then the second trailer came out, which was the more story-driven one, the plot-driven one, and I was like, "Oh, actually, my perception of this is a bit different. It seems different. It seems darker." Than the first one. I might actually give this a chance. So I did. I went to see it, and I was very pleasantly surprised by it.
Yeah.
I thought it had good diversity with the humor, with the action, serious parts. It had a good message to it that kids could get behind and families can.
It's but there was a lot of jokes for the grown-ups in there as well. I mean, I was the only one in the cinema to, because I forget the guy's name. Is it Kevin Keegan Hall who plays Bumblebee? I'll be 127. But he goes, this is Atron, and I fucking laughed my tits off. For those who don't know, he did the sketch where he's like, Taniqua, Jacqueline, Aaron, that sketch, fucking hilarious. And I laughed my tits off. And then he went, oh, this is Steve. Oh, he's foreign. That killed me as well. So the humor was great. What is it the best Transformers film? No, it isn't.
No.
Is it a lot of fun? Oh, hell yes, it is.
It's it's not the best, no, but it's definitely better than what we've had over through Michael Bay, anyway.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I think
it's definitely because, like I say, there's only ever been one other Transformers film that's been animated fully, and that was the '86 movie.
'86, yeah.
And guess what? When that came out, it was a failure as well.
That's true, yeah.
I made a video about the reactivated thing on my channel. I did like a little discussion video talking about the whole issue as we're discussing right now, pretty much about the game Reacted, and about like if the Transformers line is in a bit of a decline at the moment. There is a bit of a decline at the moment, but it's not the first time the Transformers brand has experienced some kind of a decline, because as I mentioned in my video, it's basically kind of like there was a point where the line was quite strong. There was stuff being produced from Japan. There was stuff being produced from more Japan. It seemed to kind of move more to Japan, didn't it, after Beast Wars? Because they did Beast Wars 2, Beast Wars Neo, 2001 Robots in Disguise. And then the Unicron trilogy was Japanese produced. And then animated was the first one back as a produced in America.
Yeah, for like something like 6 years or something like that.
Yeah, so, and also there was a big point of time, of the timeline, where there was very little cross-media coming out after the Unicron trilogy and animated coming out. So there was a big lull at that point where there was still probably the odd toy coming out, but it was more video games and comic books. That was in that time frame. Because I do remember there was a big lull, and then animated came out, and then the first Michael Bay announcement film came out, and that started to just go boom. And then it came back.
I'll be honest, the Bay, like you say, I mean, Transformers had always been pretty strong as a role. Just 1 minute, sorry. Sammy's messages.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of them things. Is that it's not the first time the Transformers line has hit a snag. I think it'll come out the other end eventually. Something will have to come out, and something might come out and get people's attention again.
Sorry, John. What I was saying was, Transformers was still going pretty strong, and then when the Bay film came out, it went, like you said, it was the shot in the arm that it needed. It was like exploded everywhere, no pun intended. But it Michael Bay'd itself,
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
it committed suicide.
Well, no. What I mean is it, like a Michael Bay film, explosion.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
In the public eye.
Yeah.
Now, we knew about Transformers and stuff like that as well at the time. Sorry, every time I talk, Sammy catches it. He's supposed to be on with us. I'm just trying to get him on. Right,
no,
so yeah, like I said, those Transformers fans were in there anyway. We knew it was coming, and I was sort of a little bit influential in the making of the film, in the fact that when I heard they were making the film, so I was big into the Dreamwave comics at the time because, like I said, nothing, and then suddenly Dreamwave was there. Boom, right? That's a whole discussion for another day. But when I was reading those comics, they had a forum, which basically you could go and discuss things, and somebody said, Don Murphy, the producer, has his own forum. Went over there, and I met some long-time friends, including Mr. Raymond T, who's in the chat. Hey, Raymond. I will read the chats out later. We're just discussing them. We'll read the chats out anyway. So yeah, and he had, and basically, as fans, what do you want, what you don't want, all that kind of stuff. And we were like, need this, don't need this, want this, don't want that. We didn't get everything we wanted, but the one thing we were fucking steadfast on was Peter Cullen as Optimus Prime, right? That was had to be the thing, right? And because of that, Jim Thoughts gone now. Yeah, so so it was what it needed at the time was a big Hollywood blockbuster, boom, and so there, and then that led into animated, because I think animated was announced the same year at Comic-Con, I want to say, or was it the year after? It was around about that time. I'm getting old, I can remember what happened yesterday. And then that's when we got classics, and that's when we started to get the movie line came out and stuff, and it grossed $1 billion. That's a lot of money from 2007, almost 20 years ago. One second.
Yeah, like I was just saying, it's one of them, isn't it? It's basically kind of like there has been a lull at one point, and then all of a sudden, just an explosion 1 second later.
Yeah,
because it's almost it's kind of like obviously with G1, it was obviously mostly through America production, and then it went to the Headmaster Takara trilogy where it started to shift shop over to Japan. And then we got Beast Wars, and then Beast Wars 2, Beast Wars Neo, and everything. And it was kind of like there was a bit of a balance. Like Japan was producing stuff, and then Takara was producing stuff, and then Hasbro. And then there was like I say, I think the Transformers brand has always had. There's been points in its timeline throughout these 40 years where it's had slumps in performance. And then there's been literally nothing for cross media except for the odd game release or most of the comic books. Dreamwave was a big one. I never actually read into the comic books. I've never collected them except for the new Skybound one, which is coming out at the moment.
So good.
Yeah, I'm really looking
I need to get the latest trade. I ain't got it yet. I need to get it.
Yeah. So
we're being joined by Sammy. We'll let him in.
Oi.
Hey, up, Sammy.
Hello.
Hello,
everybody.
How are you, sir? Good.
Yes, I'm very well. I've just been chiming in. I've just pretty much observing throughout the entire discussion in regards to the movies and how they've been doing this. And it's weird that this is where we're at right now in regards to Transformers, because it's sad that one didn't do nearly as well as it could have, to the point where we could have and should have got the sequel we were supposed to be getting.
Or even a TV show.
I think now, I'm really concerned. I'm a little bit concerned about what the future of Transformers will be, if I'm being honest.
I think, quite honestly, I think the toys are still going to be. We're still going to get Age of Primes and Studio Series and all that sort of stuff. I think that's not going away for the foreseeable, right? I think that's basically where we're at. I personally, I don't think they're going to do another TV show, because the thing is with Transformers 1, just to plug the Blu-ray, go out and buy it on 4K, it's amazing, right? Helping you out, Hasbro, come on.
Yes.
But no, what I mean is that I don't think we could have had a TV show, right set more or less as soon as the film ended, 10 episode cartoon, could even been like Cyberverse, have 10-minute episode. You've got the assets there, all there. They could have done a couple of cartoons, maybe 10 episodes or even 5 episodes, just to, advance the story a touch, right? And then, like you say, second movie, boom, you're in. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's not a normal. That's a normal thing. That's happened since time immemorial. We've had a movie, a little bit of a TV show, maybe cartoon that's led into the next film. Like the Marvel started doing it, and it's regardless of what you say, it did the thing, didn't it? So
yeah.
But as you say about the state of play, I think whoever was in charge of marketing should be fired. Quite honestly.
The trailer, I mean, that first trailer alone was like the shot to the head.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because, I mean, look, if you're going to advertise your movie, first impressions are the huge importance right there. And if your first trailer is not guaranteed to get people excited or get people interested in what you're watching, gone.
Yeah.
That's it. Audience attention out the window. Because when that first trailer came out, it was just one of the most abysmal things I'd ever seen.
Yeah. Plus,
second trailer
plus you've got an exchange between Optimus and Orion Pax and D117, whatever it's called, right?
D16, yeah.
D16. So you've got that exchange there from an event that has happened in the film, but we don't know. So there's no context to that conversation. Okay. Mm-hmm. Where was the spectacle? Where was the vistas and the, coming to a cinema near you and all that kind of stuff? One world, one.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, so something to build up enthusiasm for the audience.
Exactly, yeah. And if they'd have done that, because the second trailer was a lot better.
It was.
Yeah.
But again, where was it? You could only find it on YouTube. It wasn't on TV. It wasn't, at the cinema. It wasn't anywhere.
Yeah. Well, that's what I just said, because like a moment ago, that's what I was just saying about, because I went to see other films at the time when Transformers 1 was being advertised, and I saw exactly the same trailer every time for Transformers 1, and it was the first one, and I was like, they've already released like 2 other trailers in this moment in time. There's been like there was the first one, and then they released like an actual plot-driven one, which was actually better, but that actually never got played in cinema.
I remember, I remember when I saw The Wild Robot, and then up came the teaser trailer, the first trailer for Transformers 1, and it was, and I was half expecting that, okay, around this point you think, okay, so we're gonna get the other trailer. We never got the other trailer. We only ever just got the first trailer, and I really strongly feel that whoever was working on the marketing for that film was working against that film and not interested one way or the other to let that film do whatever it wanted to do. And it's so unfortunate that now that the film has kind of come and gone, and now that it's out, and while it's still being highly regarded, I think that it's lost its opportunity to do anything else going forward. And I'm really gutted about that, because
me too.
I love the film, and I really wish that if first impressions were positive, we could have built up a bit more excitement, and then that would have encouraged whoever was involved in that to make another one, or build up interest for another one. But now that we're at this point now where I think Transformers is currently going in this phase where the toys are fine, Skybound is doing well for what they're doing. Earthspark is kind of on its slow decline, unfortunately, and I'm very curious. I mean, and also in regards to what came out recently with the cancellation of Transformers Reactivate, it's like, and now
Transformers 1 has got a lot to do with that, quite honestly.
I'm irritated with the cancellation of Transformers Reactivate, if I'm being honest, because we haven't had a proper game in this franchise since Transformers Devastation, and that was how many years ago now? Exactly, yeah.
Let me see what it says on the back here. I can read it.
That game came out in 2015, so
10 years ago.
10 years ago. That was 10 years ago. We should have had something in between all that. And now that this comes along, oh, sorry, you're gone. Go away now. It's like,
and instead of that, you can get Transformers skins for Fortnite.
And I really feel that that's kind of I'm worried that that's the future of where a brand like this is heading towards. If it's not given the opportunity to do anything in video games, and if it's only just being like shuffled towards something like Minecraft or Fortnite or whatever thing is there
it's
now.
Microtransactions is what they want. So you're not only buying the thing, you know. I mean, you know, as bizarre as this sounds, but imagine, you know, I think some exec's probably thinking about this. You go out and buy a figure, right? So you buy, you know, the next version of Optimus Prime, say, for example. But to get his gun, you got to pay another $5. To get another skin for it, you got to pay. You know, I'm sure some executives thinking about that right now. You know, how can we make microtransactions out of the figure? You know, it is. It's ridiculous, and it's the fact that, like I said, going back to Reactivate, because if Transformers had done well, they'd have gone right. Here's a release date, probably. That's just my headcanon going around.
Yeah.
But I kind of knew it wasn't coming out. Well, the announcement wasn't a surprise to me because there's just been no news about it since the trailer that dropped, apart from the two packs that came out.
Of any game, of anything from this franchise that has come along. I mean, I'm genuinely confused as to why there's been such little attention given to Transformers Reactivate, because all that we saw and all that we heard were maybe a few was the trailer, of course, which looked really interesting. We saw previews of the game, which again looked pretty interesting, announcements for the cast for who would play who, and even some of the toys, which looked really good.
Yeah,
but it seems like, but now it's like it seems that everything associated with that game was it started and then it just went quiet and then quiet and then quiet.
Yeah, and they just buried it. Yeah, that's it.
Cancelled. Yeah,
same with the movie.
And now
the trailer came out and then they just buried it.
And I find that so frustrating because I've said this so many times. I think a franchise like Transformers has the unlimited potential to do something really good in something like video games.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, really there's not given it enough opportunities to do that.
Because the thing is, I mean, I've been talking about this for a long time. But if you look at Grand Theft Auto, for example, right, that is your engine because you drive cars, fly helicopters, fly jets, boats, anything else. But you can also get out and walk around. So there's your engine. Yeah. You just got to have the transformation sequence in. So imagine a Transformers game, an open world game, just like Grand Theft Auto, but you play as Optimus Prime or Starscream or something like that, and you can destroy the city or save the city. Got shit going down there. You got to go and rescue this. You know, wouldn't that be the perfect type of game to do?
I think it would be. I mean, if not that, then maybe something along the lines with what Telltale would have done, or even if you want,
like an interactive story type thing. Yeah, that could work. Yeah.
So I mean, if you're going to really go the extra mile, you could probably do like an interactive story with something close to what the More Than Meets the Eye comic was doing. Or even, you know, if say for example, if this is possible, revisit something that didn't work well in the past that could work a little bit better today. Like say for example, you were going to does anybody remember that terrible Beast Wars game that came out in the mid to late 90s?
Oh yeah.
You could take that game. You could take that game and retouch some of the ideas in there, and you could probably make something really good out of that. Because I would think that if the idea for something like Beast Wars being you start off as a protoform, and then you go exploring, and then you find an animal of wherever it is you are, and then you scan that animal that you're trying to that's in your like. In your optic range, and then okay, that's your beast mode. There you go. So something like that would have been fine, but it's just frustrating that I think that right now Transformers is in this really precarious place where what's currently out there now is either doing fine in one area and it's kind of not in another.
Yeah,
And
well,
then
I
it
thought
comes
about
to-
this today.
Yeah,
I thought about
And
this
then
today.
it comes-
Transformers is not exactly in a good place, but it's not in a bad place either. It's kind of just nestled right in the middle of it. It's
in a
because as
slump.
well.
I feel it's just in a slump of itself at the minute, and there's like a lot of like behind the scenes stuff going on with shifting of people and heads and certain people being replaced in certain areas.
Isn't
Didn't
Chris
they
Cox
lose
now
something
the head
like
guy
1,000
involved in that?
employees at Hasbro or something like that as well?
I don't know. They've downsized the workforce, haven't they,
Yeah.
somehow?
Well, the thing is, as well, is right. They've put all this effort into doing 40th anniversary and 40th anniversary toys and stuff like that. But if you didn't know that was happening, you'd never see it.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's only because, you know, people like us and doing videos and on Facebook and buying the toys and stuff like that. People go, "Oh, is it 40th anniversary? I didn't know." Well, yeah, because it's not advertised anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, unless you're looking for it specifically, you're not going to find it. And
I mean-
that brings me back to the big problem of this film. When it came out, it was nestled between the Wild Robot, which I haven't seen yet, but apparently I hear it's really good as well. So you got two robot-y films coming out about the same time, and then what film came out after it? Was it Wicked? I want to say.
It
So
might
you
have
got
been
that. Yes, so it's kind of in that sort of blinking
Yeah.
miss it, you know. And it came out October as well. That should have been prime example for Midsummer, 4th of July release, bang.
wicked.
But no.
Yeah,
Which-
it's just
Yeah, which brings us to something like announcements for Transformers Cyber World, which I'm a little
yes.
skeptical about.
Yeah, I am as well.
The
Is it going to be
only
for modern audiences?
the only thing I've seen from that is a preview of one of the toys where Megatron's alt mode is a bull,
Oh,
Was
yeah,
that
I did
anything-
see that popping up. Yeah, I wonder
which I
what
think
that
is actually
was.
kind of interesting. That's
Back to
actually
Beast Wars,
interesting.
yeah.
Or you know when RD 2015 was going for the route of okay, so the Autobots are standard vehicles, the Decepticons are all animal based,
Yeah,
and if that's the
Some
idea
do.
for this, then okay. But thus far we haven't heard of what the show is going to be about, who's doing the show, or even who's going to be in the show. So I'm certain we'll probably hear something about that until maybe the end of the year. And once things are kind of prodded along a little bit, but I'm curious about Cyberworld because in regards to the entertainment surrounding this franchise, well, we're not going to getting any movies anytime soon. I think
No.
it's gonna. I think one was kind of the last one that we might be getting for quite a long time.
I think if
I thought we was getting the G.I. Joe crossover one.
Well, that's not going to happen. There's no way.
Yeah.
Because
Probably not,
if that was going to happen, we wouldn't have got Transformers 1. We'd have got another live action film.
Yeah.
So they're obviously trying something new, which is fine, right? I'm not. I've said this about reboots before. Okay, so I'm just going to get onto the reboot. Transformers 1 is a reboot, regardless of what people say, regardless of what the higher ups say. It's a reboot. Because they're basically starting from day one, hence Transformers 1, right?
And they're kind of creating their own lore as well.
Exactly, yeah, right. So I'm going to talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles just for a moment. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has been rebooted as much times as Transformers has, but they've kept the core elements that make it TMNT. You know, the four turtles, that they're all brothers, they're all ninjas, Master Splinter, Shredder, and variations of Krang and whatever else, right? Right from the original comic, right?
Yep.
It's been more or less the same.
It's kept its identity.
Yeah, it's kept its identity. Because if you look at the 2012 one, I want to say the CGI one, they took all the best elements. Yeah, they took all the best elements from every TMNT show, right, and comic, and put it all together, and it was quite a good show. I quite enjoyed it, quite honestly.
I really like that one actually.
Yeah.
That was a really good version.
It was, yeah. So, like I said, they took all the best bits. You had the silliness of the 87 cartoon, you had the seriousness of the comic books, and the 2003 cartoon, which was really good as well.
Oh yeah.
Right? And I love the Krangs. Krangs were a fantastic idea, right? But again, they took all the core elements, bang. Transformers on the other hand, they they just go Optimus, Megatron, Autobots, Decepticons, boom, that's it. Really throws it out there, you know. And it's sometimes it's good, sometimes not so good. You know, for every G1, there's a G2. You know, for every Beast Wars, there's a fucking RRD. You know,
and I think
and it's
I think in regard to a franchise like Transformers and how it's had its highs and its lows, and we've all seen how that occurs. So I think that this is probably the new low that we're at right now, because right now, due to change of hands and people involved in Hasbro and everything else, I get the feeling that what needs to happen more than anything is there needs to be some serious shakeup, not just for the franchise, but for the people involved in the conception of how this franchise works, especially going forward. Because
well, I don't think it's just Transformers. I think it's just pop culture in general. I mean, you look at the decline of Star Wars, Star Trek, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you know, and anything else you want to put in there. The cinema as a whole, there has been a steady decline in the last sort of 5 years or so. And I'm not talking even about COVID and lockdowns or anything like that. I'm just the quality of films has dropped significantly. And then when there's been a good film, you know, it's done bank. Like Oppenheimer, is a prime example, did really well at cinema, and it's a really good fucking movie, right? Yeah. Barbie did really well, right? And the reason Barbie did well, it's not the best of films, but because it came out around about the same time as Oppenheimer, you had that Barbenheimer thing going on. You remember? Where, you know, you'd go to cinema with your girlfriend to go see Oppenheimer, then as a sort of payback, you'd go see Barbie with her. You know what I mean? So it can work well if done right. And Barbenheimer is a prime example of that. Just word of mouth and daft memes that were popping up.
The one thing that I think also reflects in how Transformers plays into this is because I think that as we've seen these movies come along, and as people's opinions of them have either gone from positive to negative, and then back to positive, and then back to negative, and everything else. I remember watching a video that TJ Omega did where he was discussing about what went wrong in regards to Transformers 1. And the one thing that he brought up in regards to the movies is that as we've seen these films go through various different stakes of how they have been released and everything, the one thing he brought up is that we are all burned out with it, because we've seen how these films have come along, and every time it's 1 minute it's going to be, oh, this is going to be amazing, and then another minute is, oh, it's going to be bad, and then which is why I think the lowest, well, one is the lowest grossing one at the moment. Yeah. If you reflect back a little bit before, like with Rise of the Beasts and with Bumblebee. Bumblebee did fairly okay, but I think Rise of the Beasts bombed as much as it did, and so the enthusiasm wasn't quite as there. And then
there's a number of reasons for that.
Well,
I was going to say the number of reasons for that is one, the normies out there don't even know what Beast Wars is, right? I'll guarantee you. I'm like, why is Optimus Prime a gorilla, right? So that's put people off, right? Yeah. Two, I think a lot of people were, like you say, burned out with the Michael Bay stuff and gone, well, it's just another Transformers, explosions and, you know, nonsensical, blah, 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 blah. But actually, Rise of the Beast, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really thought it was okay, you know?
I thought Rise of the Beast was, I thought Rise of the Beast was okay, but I think in regards to, Bumblebee started things off really well, I think. But I honestly think that, you know, going forward, it should have been, you know, doing something different rather than just go, okay, here's a Beast Wars film, because I haven't revisited Rise of the Beasts largely because I didn't hate it, but I just didn't like it as much as I thought I would. And when I saw it, I was kind of okay with it, and I thought, oh, yeah, that was fine. But I think with how that handled what plans were going to be involved for whatever reboot Bumblebee might have started, that killed it for me. Which is why I think when news came out that there was going to be a Transformers /G.I. Joe crossover, that immediately just like, okay, we're doing that again. So now that I think that because Hasbro's moving away from doing movies based on their popular IPs, they're not going into doing anything like that again with this. So,
well, I mean,
yeah.
I can see where they were trying to go with this. Because Marvel Cinematic Universe, just took over cinema, right? So they wanted a shared universe. So it's like, well, what have we got? We've got Transformers, we've got G.I. Joe. Probably we may have, if that had been successful, we may have got a Mask movie, which still I'm waiting for. And then, but like I said, it comes down to reboots again. Did you hear about Masters of the Universe, the new one they're doing?
Oh my god, I'm blown away by the fact that that's even happening.
Right, but they said
they're
not going to stick to the core ideas. So basically, the original canon, and it's like, well, why do Master of the Universe then? This is what I keep saying about. This is why I had such a big allergic reaction to the first JJ Star Trek movie. He's like, well, why do a film that is set in a particular universe and then just completely change it for changing's sake? Not because, hey, we're going to tell a really interesting story with this, that, and the other thing, and we're going to take elements from this, that, and the other. No, they just went, Bayversed it, basically. And then it was basically J.J. Abrams going, oh, look, Mr. Lucas, I can direct Star Wars, honest. And that's what it felt like. And then with Star Trek Discovery, Alex Kurtzman keeps saying about Star Trek Discovery, saying that, oh, we like Star Trek, we want to make it Star Wars. But it's like coffee and tea. Both are good, but when you put them together, they're not good.
And it's one of the things where, and I think it's one of the things where, in regards to something like He-Man, with this movie that has been in development hell since 2007, by the way.
Yeah.
This movie's been in development hell for years.
Yeah.
And now it's actually happening. And now all of a sudden, we're going against everything that every core thing that this franchise was about. If you go against that, you are losing your audience altogether.
Yeah, of course you are.
So
because the thing is, you've got to keep your fans happy. If the fans are happy, then all right. There's going to be a lot of stuff. I mean, let's go back to Star Trek. Look at the Star Trek movies that came out from the first TNG movies, right? The TNG movies.
Yeah. Unless
you were a core fan, you're probably not going to know the little references from here to when the references episodes, like we did this 6 years ago or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But you can watch those films and enjoy them for what they are, right? Even if you're not a big Star Trek fan, it's a spectacle, the Enterprise shooting at the Borg, blah, 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 blah. A lot of fun, right? But if you're going to go then, try and get other people in, which is fine. You've got to get people to watch your film. I understand that. But you piss off your core audience. They're the ones that are going to fucking... Because don't forget, when a film comes out, and any franchise for anything, where the money is made is the merchandise, right? So if we, like say, Transformers 1, if that was successful, we go out and buy the Blu-ray, the toys, T-shirts, lunchboxes, the whole works, right? But if the fans aren't buying that, Star Wars fans are an example, because everything goes to Wally's on clearance almost straight away now, they're losing money fast, and it's hemorrhaging. And again, a lot of that stuff trickles down because, of course, Hasbro have got the Star Wars license. So they're mandated by Disney going, right, here's the next film, here's these characters, make figures. So Hasbro contractually has to go, okay, we'll make the figures. But if they're not from a popular film and they're not popular characters, the core audience aren't going to buy those toys. Not necessarily little Timmy down the road who may like the new Star Wars films. Little Timmy might not even like those figures and probably not going to play with them or buy them because he was too interested in playing fucking Fortnite. So,
The thing is, though, as well, I've got to just say is that it's a different time now because I think I'm from the last era that remembers childhood before technology.
Yeah.
And the problem is when I was a kid, when you, Tony, was a kid, and same with Sammy, you knew to go out and play, be a kid. You know what play? The whole idea of essence of playtime. Look
at the first day of the 6 weeks holidays from school. What did you do? Got on your bike, gone all fucking day. gone out the house, getting up to mischief, getting things like that, or whatever you were doing, and then you'd get your Transformers out or your Star Wars toys out and playing with the kids in the street, or you'd be out water pistols or whatever else, right? Super Soakers. Because I'm at the age of just coming out when I was just getting out, becoming a teenager. I was a bit disappointed. I won't remember what buy me one. But and then the video, I had a Super Nintendo and a NES and computers and stuff like that and video games, but they were there for when it was raining. You thought, I'm not going out today. I'll play Super Nintendo, and that's what they were there for. Yeah. Winter's night when it's dark, you come home from school and it's dark, it's cold, you don't want to go outside. Yeah. That's when you play video games, sure. But now that's all kids want to do, and I see it everywhere you go. Even 2-3-year-olds, you see them being pushed along in a wheelchair, in a pushchair, and they're sat there with a phone going, watching Peppa Pig on a phone.
Yes, there's this whole thing of like screen time for kids now, isn't it? It's like, we'll designate you an hour of screen time on your tablet and this, that, and the other. And it's just like kids today don't know what it's like to be a kid.
You're right. Absolutely.
Everything is rolled by a fraction of a second long videos, and they don't have an attention span anymore. Things of that nature. And that's, I think, why certain things are failing, because kids don't have imagination anymore. They don't have. I
think it's not just kids though. I think it's
which is kind of why. Yeah, I mean, which is kind of why. I mean, I haven't seen a single child get excited about. Okay, so I have 2 toy stores in my town, and what very few Transformers toys there are. They're either leftovers from Rise of the Beasts, or there were a few Earthspark toys. I haven't seen one single child pick one up and get excited about that. And I've only ever really seen them ever really just reach for the games area, not so much for the toys area. And
I used to work at the entertainment, and I saw it. Little kids, right? Sure, they like toys, right? For the most part, I'm talking like preschool stuff. Anything bluey was a big seller. So was what do they call it now? Paw Patrol. All that sort of stuff was always a big seller, right? But as soon as they get sort of become sort of 6-7-ish, it's straight to a PlayStation. When I was 6-7, I had play outside with my Star Wars ships and stuff like that. If it fucking snowed, I'd take my AT-ATs. I had 3 AT-ATs because I got one for Christmas. One off my mum, one off my grandparents, and we bought one at a car boot sale for £2. And I had 3 AT-ATs. What did I do? Straight out in the snow with them, Because recreate Empire Strikes Back, because that's what I'd seen, and I wanted to recreate it outside, and of course we did. And I lost a lot of feet in the snow.
We're from a generation that had an imagination.
Yeah, exactly, imagination. That's it.
Because that's what you get through play, and also play. The thing is, though, when you're a kid, play is actually a good way for you to learn things as well.
Yep.
Experience things.
Interaction with other people as well.
Interaction with other people, yeah. So it's all about it's a good thing, playtime for a young person.
And I think with something like Transformers, I'm very concerned that I think the future of what the brand is going to be is only just going to be limited to this thing that is aimed primarily for us. And I don't want it to be like that, because I would rather. I mean, it's a miracle that we're living in this day and age now, where fans like you and fans like John and everyone else involved have the new versions of the older character that we had when we were kids, and with all the posability and all the detail and everything that comes with it. It's a miracle that we're living in an age of innovation where we have those sort of toys. But that's for us.
Of course it is.
What do the children have?
That's it. But it comes down to as well. I mean, you go to Smith's Toys, for example, because that's the best toy shop that has Transformers in and has numerous of them, right? And I was saying to John about this earlier. You go into a toy shop, right? And you're a parent or a grandparent who knows Transformers exist, but that's about it, right? You walk into thingy, and they go to a shelf, and on the shelf there's 20 different Optimus Prime. There's Studio Series. There's the Gamer one. There's the how many myriad versions that are out in Legacy. Then there's the Airspark ones, then there's the Rise of the Beast ones, and then there's the Transformers 1 ones. So it's kind of like, where do they go, right? And then not only that, but then there's the different sizes as well. You got the core classes, the one-step changes, and all that sort of stuff. So it is, unless you're a fan like us, we know which ones they are. Little Timmy might know which ones they are, but you know, Nana and Grandad and Mum and Dad don't know that. But they go to Star Wars, and it's you know, you've got two scales. You've got the 3 3/4 inch figures, and then you've got the Black Series figures. So they probably think, well, those are for collectors. We'll get little Timmy the 3 3/4 ones. Fair dues, you know. It's all one brand. It's all one thing. And but even saying that, even Star Wars are doing, you know, like original style figures, even for new characters. So I've got a Mandalorian one up there. But the thing is, though, it's confusing down the aisles. But you go back to the 80s, all the Transformers, all the boxes look the same.
Yeah.
Right? They looked all the same, had the same lettering, same packaging. All right, yeah, you'd have red ones and purple ones, but generally they all look the same. And I think Hasbro needs to get back to that to a certain degree as well. Brand recognition. So if you've got like 6 or 7 lines out at one time and they've all got different artwork, different packaging, it's confusion. Unless you're a fan that buys everything like we do, you know, like I said earlier, it's just confusing to the average consumer.
It is.
And not to mention as well, it's also easy to get lost in so many things that are so different when nothing at least looks the same, to the point where, like you said, this is all recognizable because of the layout and the design of the box art and the way that it looks. Because looking back to the older G1 box art and the packaging and everything else surrounding that, that had a particular style that, of course, with the Autobots being red, the Decepticons being purple, you knew what was there.
Yeah.
Whereas with what's on the shelf now, it's like it's too much and it's very overwhelming, and it can feel a little bit suffocating when there's like
well, it's oversaturation, isn't it?
Sorry, Raymond.
It's like it's oversaturation. It's like I completely agree, because obviously we're in that section where fans of Transformers, we kind of know the difference between the lines to a degree, but to the general person that maybe knows what Transformers was from back in the 80s or whatever, but don't follow it like we do, they're not going to really know. They're not going to compute with it. So I completely understand there. And also
it also comes down to
really watch TV now either.
Yeah,
kids
it
don't
also
really
comes down to advertising as well. I mean, you look at the G1 comics, you know, the UK comics, but it wasn't just Transformers comics, but whatever you were into, in the back there would be an advertisement for this wave, and the waves would be on the shelves for a year more. Now, you know, I mean, how many waves do we get a year? At least 4 or 5 of Legacy, you know, which is fine, but you're not letting the brand, what's the word I'm looking for? You're not letting the brand gain momentum, if that makes sense. You know, you're not letting it settle, and you're not letting it, you know, because most places now, they'll get a wave, you know, 2-3 weeks later, they'll go, right, we'll send you another wave in a couple of weeks. So everything that's out goes on clearance, so they can get rid of it and get the next wave out, which it needs to sit and not shelf warm to say, but, you know, just go, right, this is what's out right now. Yeah. Because I remember back in the day that you could go out, and if you missed something, you know, 6 months later, you'd probably be able to find it in a toy shop. You know, it's that sort of thing. Yeah. Now, they announce a wave that gets released, you go looking for it, gone. You know, you can't find it anywhere. And that's not even to mention fucking exclusives, which really annoys me, but we're not going to get into that right now because I'll just rant incessantly for an hour.
The thing is, as well, with getting back to the Hasbro thing, is that we mentioned earlier before Sammy came on, me and Tony, by the way, you know, was saying about advertisement with Transformers, is that I don't remember, I hadn't seen an advertisement for a Transforming toy for a long time, and it's like Hasbro have just like forgotten the art of subliminal messaging.
I think
forgotten the art of marketing their toys, and it's just like rely too much on Hasbro Pulse and
that
things
as well.
like that.
Yeah, sorry, John, but it just comes back to the 40th anniversary. You know, when they go, right, we're going to show the four original episodes, and then it's like, oh, we're going to show you a load of stuff. And it was like 2-minute segment of Spark, the Transformers 1 trailer, and that was it, and a couple of interviews with some of the guests. The interview's fine, but where was, this is the latest wave, this is the Skybound comics, this is, you know, what we're doing in the next year and a half. You know, HasLab, you know, come and join, you know, get your, you know, special edition HasLab thing. Where was all that at the cinema?
You really get the feeling that the advertising behind Transformers at the moment is just it's very apathetic, or it's just not completely there.
It's non-existent. It's non-existent.
That's a good word too.
It's just non-existent. The promotion for Transformers toys. I mean, their board game stuff is advertised, like Monopoly and things like that Hasbro produce. You know, the board game stuff, that's all on TV.
I think as well.
But
again, it comes
never
down
the mainline toys.
Well, it's not even just the toys. You remember the Vranch cards? What happened to that?
Mm.
Well, the one thing as well, I remember I recently listened to that TF Nation podcast that came out yesterday with David Wallace, Chris McFeely, and that was interesting hearing some of the things that were brought up in there. One thing that I heard in regards to those cards is I think that it was all planned out, but it didn't happen, and the people in charge of that were bringing Chris McFeely on board. I might be mishearing it, but they were bringing him on board to announce here's the cards thing, and then it didn't happen, and so.
But again, it comes down to because for what I understand was I thought it was going to be a card game. Now, you know, like the Pokemon card game, right? Yeah. That has been completely successful. Pokemon. It came out in '99, and it's still as popular now as it was back then, right?
Oh yeah.
So whoever's in charge of Pokemon are doing it fucking right?
Yeah.
For one. The Transformers card game that came out by Wizards of the Coast, who do Magic the Gathering, came and went without a fucking whisper, right? And a number of factors with that, one of which the fucking character cards were way too big. Why weren't they just normal cards? Because I mean, I'd have just bought them just to put them in a folder, look nice, great. Because the artwork, amazing, right? But the game actually itself was a bit shit. But anyway.
Not to mention as well, the one thing in regards to Wizards of the Coast is they've been going downhill horribly in the last few years.
Yes, they have, and that's why Magic the Gathering has been doing crossovers. You know, like you can get Fallout and Doctor Who, and you know, they're doing Marvel next year. They're doing Spider-Man first, I think, and then they're bringing in the rest of the Marvel universe. And it's kind of like you kind of missed the point somewhere. It's supposed to be wizards and magic and dragons and all that sort of stuff, and then you're bringing in Marvel and Transformers and Fallout and Warhammer, and you know.
Yeah.
I think what the franchise needs, and I think Chris McFeely mentioned this in the podcast, is we seriously need a new Armada, but a new interpretation of Armada for the kids to enjoy.
Yes,
and I really think that maybe Earthspark could have been that, but it feels as though it should have been that. But unfortunately, in regards to how it was treated and how it's just been kind of ignored on Paramount Plus. And it's just been kind of like, and I think Paramount is kind of like the elephant's graveyard for Transformers, and just how it's not being treated very well. So at some point, they need to let go of Paramount and go with a better distributor, because
the thing it comes down to streaming services in general. I think the bubble's best, as for me anyway, right? I'm all about fucking owning the fucking disc.
Physical media all the way, yeah.
Right? But I think what's happened is because Netflix was pretty much the first one and went, hey, look at all these movies and TV shows and blah, 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 blah. Then they started making their own stuff, right? And then Disney went, but we've got our own stuff, let's do our own thing, right? Because you could, before Disney Plus came out, you could watch Disney films on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
So they've done one. HBO Max is one, Amazon Prime, Paramount Plus. So there's all these different streaming services, all asking 10 quid, 20 quid, 30 quid a month or whatever it is. So if you've got all of them, you're shelling out nearly 60, 70 pound a month, you know, and there's so much to watch. But it also comes down to the model as well. Netflix just goes, here's every episode, boom, and then you can binge watch it in a day and you're done, right? And then you wait till the next thing that comes out. What happened to, at least Disney Plus with, however you think of The Acolyte, at least they brought out each episode weekly, right?
Yeah.
That's what you need to do. If they're going to do a new Transformers cartoon, something like Armada, they need to do it weekly. They need to advertise it pretty much everywhere and put it on Netflix or, terrestrial TV, right? And do it weekly and fucking advertise the piss out of it, right? If it fails, it fails. But at least they give it a go. Don't just like you say, put it on Paramount Plus, put every episode out and let it slowly disappear into meaningless,
Yeah.
That's what they need to do. They need to go, right, we're going to do a good cartoon. And like I said about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles earlier, pick the best elements of each Transformers show. Why was G1 successful? Why was Beast Wars pretty good? Why was, all the best elements of each show and put them all together, see what works. And, obviously when you're developing the show and just go, right, we've come up with a show. I mean, it comes down to the way I do it is do something like Armada, but do it G1 style. For example, set in the modern day, they find a crashed spaceship and, basically G1, but in the modern day, right?
Well,
no. What I'm saying is I think that story kind of works. What I mean is go back to the robots in disguise business.
Oh,
yeah. So the hiding from the government, the hiding from the people, they don't want to get found out. A show like that would be fantastic. Prime did it a bit, right? But it didn't do it as well as they could have,
Yeah.
Having a small group of people knowing, Jack and Miko and all that, knowing that they exist, but not necessarily the rest of the world know they exist, and then, then the Decepticons show up and start, fucking shit up, which, like I said, Prime is, so if you merged Prime with the G1 idea with a little bit of Armada in there, I think you might have a winner.
Which is kind of why I'm a little bit concerned about what Cyberworld's going to be about.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And as much as I think this is kind of the direction that I think children's entertainment will be heading in, we are slowly seeing a little bit of a decline in regards to 30-minute stories and only just having them for maybe about 10 minutes. And that, part 1, 10 minutes, part 2, 10 minutes, and something like that. Or I mean, in regards to that, so part 1, 10 minutes, part 2, 10 minutes, and then another episode, say for example, you were having a season finale or whatever. It would be a 30-minute long episode of one story. I think that might be. I could be wrong. I think that might be something like that in regards to Cyberworld. I have no idea. We're completely left in the dark in regards to Cyberworld. Like I said before, I think we might hear more stuff about that show until the end of the year. But I need to at least know who's involved in the production of that show, because a lot of people have said, a lot of people have wanted. I mean, when that Studio Trigger 40th anniversary thing came out, that was sublime. I loved that so much. That was amazing. That highlighted everything that was so phenomenal about this franchise and its 40-year running success.
Yeah.
And you think, why not get them on board with something like this? And the writing's on the wall. Everybody would love to see Studio Trigger animate something associated with Transformers, and it could work. Granted, given the fact that 2D animation is quite expensive, the chance of that happening might seem a little bit unlikely. But if at least whoever is involved in the production of that show, if they go in the same route with being as evergreen as what Cyberverse was like, or even do some of what Earthspark did with hiring Nick Roche as the character designer on that show, which I've only seen bits of that show, but I think bringing him on board of that was the best decision, because his robot designs really did bring life to that show a lot. But yeah, I'm a little concerned about what Cyberworld will be about. But I think, in regards to this current state that we're in right now in the franchise, we're at a slump. and there have been many in the past that successfully have managed to get over that. I think right now, we're seeing that slump where we're stuck in a point where we don't know what to do. And now that we've experienced a failure of one movie that was highly regarded after the fact, and now that it's gained a little bit of a success on home video, now we're moving away from doing films based on our popular IPs, and now we're going towards video games. Ha ha ha! Cancellation of Reactivate, and that and everything else. So I'm concerned. I'm rather concerned about what the future of Transformers will be like. I mean, I know for a fact that the slump we're in, we will find a way to get out of it unless, and this is kind of the one thing that was touched on in that podcast, was I think Chris McFeely mentioned something about how the 2002 He-Man just kind of fizzled out due to bad toy sales. And of course, what was left of that line was only available through online distributors. And now that He-Man has kind of become this thing where it's not as, it's still, well, it is popular, but still not as popular as it was back in the days. It appeals to us, but not so much to children today. So
that's the thing. It comes down to distribution. The 2002 He-Man show was a great show. I really did enjoy it. The figures, however, were really hard to find. You could get He-Man and Skeletor everywhere. But anybody else, Man at Arms, Teela, Trapjaw, Triclops, Stratos, whoever else, you just couldn't find them. Because, the collectors obviously gone in and got them, but the distribution was terrible. Like it is now with Transformers, the distribution is terrible. I mean, how difficult is it, especially living in the UK, how difficult is it to get the figures that you want?
It is very difficult to get, because like I say, I mean, I can only speak for what it's like for availability here where we live in Hull. I mean, we've got a Smiths that has the largest amount. We also have a Forbidden Planet that has next to none.
Well, there's Stronghold as well down Eldness as
Stronghold,
as well. But I mean, he's like us. He can get the figures in that we want. But what I'm trying to say is that, I mean, you go back to Power of the Primes, right? You could go in Tesco, Sainsbury's, Asda, and find them on shelves. You go to the supermarkets now and try and find Transformers, not a fucking chance. You might get the occasion, you might get something at Earthspark, or God forbid, Rise of the Beast even, but yeah, you just don't find them. And somebody said to me, though, actually, that it was an exclusivity deal with Smiths and Entertainer, that they were getting Legacy in, but Entertainer's even rubbish as well. But yeah, it is, but that's what I'm saying. So if you can't go, like, for example, little Timmy, big into Transformers, gets dragged around a supermarket, and his mum goes, right, I'm going to buy you a toy, and he wants a Transformer, none there.
Yeah.
And then he's going to lose interest because he can't find them. He's going to go into something else.
Yeah. It's not like us where we know if you can't find it in a shop, we've got In Demand, we've got Kapow, we've got this and that. We know that. We know that because we're in the thing of the collecting side of it, but a young kid's not really going to know about it unless they go to a convention or a toy fair or something like that.
But again, the chance of going to a convention is next to zero. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And it's funny how I remember years ago, back when Dark of the Moon came out, and there were the occasional rows of toys. And I remember there was this row of several Dark of the Moon figures in my local Tesco's. And I remember getting at least one or two of them. And it's funny how I can remember, at one point supermarkets used to have a row specifically dedicated to one section of toys from a particular thing that was popular at the time. Now it's like only a few things that are there and hardly anything that's associated with exactly with the whole Funko thing. So
the Bubbles Best Funko Pops, I've got a few of them here, and I ain't bought one in about 3 years, and I just don't care anymore. I'm even thinking about getting rid of this lot, But I know I'm not going to get much for them because they're just, like I said, the Bubbles Burst. Too much, too soon, and then doing a pop of pretty much anything, now and everything. It's get to the point where it's like, really, do I need another Spider-Man? Do I really need another Darth Vader?
Yeah.
Do I really need another thingy? It's the Empire Strikes Back one, or it's the Return of the Jedi one. I've got Darth Vader.
It's one of those questions where how many versions of Optimus Prime do I need on my shelf, despite the fact that I've probably got the one that I really like? Because
Soundwave, but I'm not saying anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got every version of the G1 mold apart from I don't have the yellow DJ one they did, the gold one, the shattered glass one, and that's it. They're the only version of the mold I don't have. So you see, how many versions of Soundwave do I need? All of them.
Exactly, yeah, because I love that character and I want many versions of that when I can find. And so I think that in regards to Transformers, I think that we're at this point where the franchise is at kind of a lull. Yeah. And we've now experienced, one is done, Skybound's comic is still going, and I'm curious as to where that will go in the next couple of years once Darren Warren Johnson's left. Because
I'm a little bit worried about that because I've only read the first trade. I haven't read the others yet because that I love comic books, but I've got out of reading them. I stopped reading comic books for a long time, and I thought, well, I'm not. I was one of those comic book collectors that went, I'm buying every cover, every retailer incentive, and all that sort of stuff. And I've got almost every cover, every Dreamwave from 4 I'm missing out of everything they did. And I just first I don't have the room for it. 1. Secondly, I can't afford to do that anymore. 2. So, but what I've read though so far, that comic is just fantastic. It's everything. Like I said earlier about the G1 story, they've took that G1 story, took it in a slightly different direction, but they've got the elements that make it what it is, make it Transformers. You know what I'm saying?
You know about the Skybound one?
Yeah. I mean, spoilers for anybody in the chat who's not read it, but fucking squishy.
And right now Skybound is doing well with Transformers right now. So and when Darren Warren Johnson leaves, when Daniel Warren Johnson leaves, and whoever takes over writing duties, I'm concerned about that because whether it would stay in the same rhythm as what Johnson has done, or it will go off in a completely different direction. And
I mean, both could work.
A part of me is a bit excited about where that would go, but at the same time, I kind of feel a little bit concerned. Yeah,
me too. I mean, like you said, both of those things could work. Take it in a different direction or carry on where they're going. It could both work. I mean, you could also split it off so you've got do both of those things, but focus on one for a while, flip to the other one. So it can work either way. But like I say,
I think right now,
they could just run it straight into the ground.
Maybe. So I think right now, in regards to Transformers media, the comic is doing well at the moment. But I mean, and with Earthspark, that's kind of on its way out, and we won't hear about the new cartoon maybe until the end of the year. So in regards to media, we're kind of running out of options. And what's currently on what's currently on the go is fine, but what's currently running is nearly at its end, as well as just mistreatment of Paramount, just not giving it the proper attention it needs to let it just be its own thing. And then, of course, with as I've already brought this up already, with one just crashing and burning due to just apathy from the advertisement not giving it the attention it deserves. So, but it's amazing how at the moment, us older fans, we have so many options, but I think that right now children need something that is made exclusively for them. Because as good as it is,
like you said before about the Armada stuff, Armada is a great example because you've got 2 toys in one. You've got the big robot and you've got a little robot that does powers and lights up and stuff like that.
So you got the Minicon sets.
Yeah, Minicons, right? So that is the genius fucking stroke, right? Of having. Because I mean, look at the Armada figures. I'm not talking about the legacy Armada figures. I'm talking the original Armada figures.
Yes,
which are now considered vintage, by the way. Right? I know, right? But anyway, so what I mean is,
I kind of like that. I think I might rename my thing as Vintage Nosy.
Yes.
If you look at me from the back, I'm definitely vintage.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, like I was saying that is you've got a toy, a Deluxe or Voyager that was great to transform, simple, but did the job. It doesn't. I've always said this before. A transformer doesn't need to be complicated to make it a fun toy, right?
Yeah,
they were fun. Then you've got a Micro Master. This is why, like back
it's
in the day, my
playability
favorite
factor. It's
G1
playability.
Target Masters. Yeah, playability. Target Masters is another prime example. You've got toys that interact with other toys. They do things that make them move, fire missiles out, or lights up, and sound effects and all that sort of stuff. Brilliant. Bring that back. That would be the thing. And then, okay, so right, I'm going to ask you both a question now. So I'm going to start with John.
Yeah.
I'm in charge of Hasbro. I'm handing you the keys to Transformers. What do you do with it?
Wow.
As it stands now, so as the franchise is now, where would you take it from there? That's what I meant to say. Sorry.
Well, I would personally, I know this might sound like a very thingy thing to say, but I think in this situation, if it was me, I'd say about kind of like a crowd survey to kind of get mindset of like where the general population are. Because
what I mean, John, is if you're in creative control, what do you do with the brand as a whole? Not just like get fan reaction. Just you're in charge. You're going to make a decision. What do you do?
Wow. I think I would evaluate what's going on and just simply move forward and just try to kind of, like you said about the TMNT thing, where keep the core value, keep the identity of Transformers, and just try to inject something into it where both young kids can enjoy it and collectors can. But it's finding that common ground, which is difficult because some collectors and fans are just as bad, if not,
Yes.
It's finding that common ground, and that's
John, isn't that right, John?
But finding that common ground is very difficult, and you got your purist side, and you got those that are just like me, where I just like all of it. I don't know what I would do personally because I say I don't know, but it's some sort of injection needs to be put into it. That's all I'm going to say. There needs to be an injection of some sort of energy injection into this, because it's, as you were just saying a moment ago about, when we're talking about playability factor of the Armada stuff. That's the thing. Like a lot of the newer toys are very generic.
Yes.
There's a lot of us. There's always been a thing of retooling and remolding, and like just rehashing different characters from one mold and all this kind of. So many Optimus Prime, so many Megatrons out there. It's just a lot of kids. Kids are pretty savvy. They're not stupid. And if you keep rehashing that, kids are just going to go, well, I've already got that one. I've already got that. I can see it's the same as this toy. For me, I would love to see, when it comes to Transformers, I would like to see kind of some creativity coming back. The toys have to be, like you said, interactive, like playability factor, kind of bring back the whole Minicon thing again. I really enjoyed the Minicon thing. Target Masters, things like that. Bring that back and into like an actual show or something like that. And you need an element where kids have something they can play with, that you interact with. You need that essence of imagination,
So, yeah.
And I just think with even the Legacy line, I've enjoyed most of it as a collector, but I can see probably where there's not much drive or attention for young kids to that line, because they're just basically just display pieces. There's nothing to them. Yeah, they might have like a blast effect thing in there to say they're being shot or something. I don't know, but that's about it. They're just like, there's no missiles. There's no like inbuilt water pistol like there used to be. Things like that.
All right, Sammy, same question to you.
Really.
Well, mine's a little bit more complicated because I think if someone gave me the access to do Transformers, the one thing the one main thing I would probably do is I would ditch the familiar aspect of what has been dominating this brand for quite a while and try and make some effort to do something different. I mean, for example, and the one thing that I think probably people might say no on, I know for a fact no everybody would say no on, is the idea of, put Optimus Prime away for a little while.
Yeah, I've said this before. Yeah,
let's have Rodimus Prime get back in the spotlight. and let's let him have some stories of his own, because here's the one thing that really rubs me the wrong way about this franchise at the moment, because we have so much emphasis on new iteration of the franchise. Here's Prime, Megatron, Starscream, Bumblebee, familiar characters. We've all seen them.
Beast Wars is a prime example of that. Beast Wars comes in and it's an entirely different cast.
Yes. Yeah. Meanwhile, you have so many other characters. I mean, I can name off the top of my head: Trailbreaker, Six Shot, Octane, Brawn, Ratchet, Prowl, Jazz. So many characters, and so many of them just get shoved to just one side, and then here's the popular characters doing their thing again. So what I would do in its place is, of course, I wouldn't neglect Prime and Megatron, because as it goes in a franchise like this, in any iteration, you need to have the two big bad guys, doing their own thing. But I would say don't let the focus of what you are doing be those two primarily. At the same time, do something different. Give the attention to more obscure characters. Let Rodimus Prime do something. Let a character like I don't know, Thunderwing be the main bad guy, or even Straxus, or even Bludgeon. You've got a library of an endless library of characters. So many of them don't get that many chances to appear in anything because the popular ones that everyone's familiar with just take up the spotlight. So what I would do is put the popular characters away for a little while, give a little focus on the other characters, let them try something different in terms of stories. Don't necessarily stay on Earth. The one thing I would say, do what season 3 of G1 did. Go galaxy spanning.
Yes.
That was the one most innovative thing about season 3 of G1 that I loved. That it took the characters off world and put them in other parts of the galaxy. Because and also as well see how the interaction with both the Autobots and the Decepticons would affect other races in the galaxy.
And Nebulous is a prime example.
Yeah. And see how that would work, because I think that you raise the stakes, you put the idea in the fact that Earth and Cybertron aren't the only planets in the solar system.
Julkion, Quintessa, and Nebulous. You could even throw in Speed Planet and Gigantia and all them.
Let's see how the entire universe has a different way of interpreting what's going on with these guys. So that's what I would do.
You could start a new show, and the first few episodes of the first season, it's your usual Optimus, Megatron, Starscream, the familiar stuff, and then there could be a big battle. Or you can even have them leave Cybertron to come to Earth, and those guys gone. They've been gone a million years, right? Nobody knows where they are. They just the stories are they left Cybertron a million years ago, blah blah blah. And you could have Starsaber take control, or Emirate Zaran, and then you could have, like you said, a big bad. You could have Bludgeon, Thunderwing, Deathsaurus, even. You could bring those characters, and you could have a whole myriad of adventures. And still have G1, because G1 is happening on Earth, and this is between them leaving Cybertron, and you've got got 4 million years span of storytelling you could do right there, and then you're not messing about with the continuity, or if you want to do something different. But that's the way I'd do it. Sorry, go on.
Exactly. Because the one thing that I would say in regards to that is that I think that right now there really needs to be some risks taken in this franchise, because the last riskiest thing, well, two riskiest things actually in this franchise that have occurred were the '07 movie, by pushing this franchise out there and going full live action, doing something like that. The other one being, which didn't go quite as well, was Beast Machines.
Yes.
It's trying something like that. And the unfortunate result of that was shitty toys, they didn't sell, and which almost terminated the brand at that point. And it wasn't until RD 2001 came along, rebooted the entire thing, and we're right back where we are. But I would definitely say that right now there's no confidence in trying something that's new with this franchise, because I think that the opportunities are right there for you to do something different with a set of new characters. Don't forget about the old ones, but at least just let some of the characters that you have made. I mean, you don't even have to even make new characters, because I mean, if you've got a library full of characters that don't have any stories of their own, like if you wanted to be creative, you can pick 5, put them in a bucket, mix up the bucket, and then what? Okay, so I got da, and that's going to be the lineup. You can do something like that. So you have your story. You have your story right there. Pick a selection of characters that are not the popular 5, and then let them be the main focus. Do a story surrounding them, and then there you go. Because I think that right now, rather than just go in a direction that could actually be potentially risky, it's play it safe and just rehash the same idea of go to Earth, scan form, engage in fight, plot MacGuffin, done, and that's it. And chasing after that will only get you so far, I think.
Yeah.
And I think
that it's start it off like that and then just go into something else.
I mean,
that core idea, it works, you know.
Yeah. So I think if you wanted to at least get people on board with, okay, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do a few episodes later. So that it starts off being your familiar, and then it starts off being something, and then continues from there being something really different. Because I think right now, what I think we need to do more than ever is just stop relying so much on the familiar, and maybe put a little bit more emphasis on the unfamiliar, and start taking bigger risks. Because I think that right now the brand needs a shakeup.
Yes,
it needs a shakeup to do something big. And if it continues down the same path, then ultimately people are going to get bored and notice that it's just repeating the same old formulaic idea, and just not and it's singling out all the potential that I think this franchise could do, of going, parts unknown and encountering other different things that were either mentioned very briefly in past shows, that were only touched on maybe for one episode. I mean, if you really wanted to be creative, in Transformers Headmasters, when they brought in the battle beasts.
Oh yeah.
You could try something similar with that. You could try incorporating that in a new cartoon. Here's the Autobots encountering these race of animal people that did something similar to what Headmasters did. So something like that.
But it's like Quintessons. I've always loved the Quintessons. I always like the fact that there was a third party mixing it up, because for me they were fascinating. I mean, you've got the combination. This is the best way they were described to me. A combination of a Dalek and a Ferengi, right, in one thing, right, which is evil and wants to destroy the universe, but also like to sell you stuff at the same time, which is an interesting thing. But and it's but they were such a fascinating idea, and then they made the Transformers. Holy shit, when they found that out, you thought, oh my god, what? And it's just, and they're sinister and creepy, and and nudge there to Galvatron and nudge here, and it's a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
More of that is what I want, more of that.
Yeah.
Which is kind of why I was interested in what Transformers 1 did with bringing the Quintessons in as a third factor. And it's so annoying that movie bombed as hard as it did, because if we had got a sequel, and if we do get a sequel, that's we could have seen how the Quintessons would affect the fall of Cybertron, and what role they would play in regards to Prime and Megatron fighting each other, because alien creatures like that.
you've got a whole well of storytelling there. Are they going to sell weapons to both sides? Are they going to push Optimus push Megatron in a particular direction? Are they going to do this? Are they going to just leave them to it? Are they going to, so there's all these different elements you could throw in there, and it's the possibilities are endless. But like you said, it's so frustrating that we're not going to find out.
And I think in regards to I mean thank God for Earthspark for at least bringing in the Quintessons. So it's a start. It's a step in the right direction. Absolutely. But I really think that in the next iteration that comes along, you need to go further than that. You need to look at other ideas that have come and gone and try reinterpreting those into your next reboot in this brand. Because I think that if you really wanted to look at it, look at what Void Rivals has done with bringing back Skugzoid.
Yeah, I need to read that. I haven't read it yet. I need to do it.
Okay. But that's just another example.
Yeah, that was a thing. Yeah. Because in season 3 you had the Skugzoids, you had Quintessons, you had Junkions, you had all these different elements, all thrown in together. Even like Chaos and the Dweller from the Depths and all that, just mixed it up, shook it about a bit. And I think that's what, like you say. So this is what I'd do. Okay. Firstly, come up with an idea, like you said, of having the familiar to start with and then branching off into something new. Like I said, you could even have the thing start on Earth and then, cut back to Cybertron, and we're on Cybertron now for the foreseeable future, right? The Cybertronians have no idea the Autobots and Decepticons are on Earth, this, that, and the other, and then suddenly they, get a transmission and whatever, and then it's a whole thing of, we've got to try and find them, and then like you say, it comes into the thing of a bit like Star Trek, and they're out exploring, trying to find Optimus Prime and Megatron and all the rest of it, and then they're encountering the Skugzoids, the Quintessons, the Junkions, and whoever else might be out there, And so you've got that element of space in there, but you could also flip back to Earth. So you can have like 2 or 3 episodes on the ship, them searching for him, and then flip to Earth. You can have your normal Optimus Megatron stuff going on. You could do it like that, for example. So you're getting a bit of both there. You've got your familiarity, and then you've got something new at the same time.
Yeah.
And then, or you could do it like I said, they're out exploring and they're having wars and stuff like that with other. They could even come, join forces to fight another alien race, which again would be really cool. The other thing I'd do is unify the brand. Like I said earlier on about the toys, you go into a toy shop and there's 20 different Optimus Primes. I would get rid of all the one-step changes and the flip change and all like that. Get rid of all of that, right? Yeah, I'd keep things like Rescue Bots and stuff like that for the smaller kids, because Rescue Bots seems to be popular. I've watched a couple of episodes, and I like what I've seen, but it's not for me. Okay, just not for me, because it's not designed for me, right? But keep that stuff for the little kiddies. And you can do Rescue Bot style figures of, say, Transformers 1 or whatever's out at the time. That's fine. But keep them as a Transformer figure rather than like the MechTech stuff or the fucking
one-step changes.
Yeah.
The mask style vehicles. If you press a button and all weapons pop out of them and all that, get rid of all that stuff. Gone forever.
Yeah.
It's never coming back. Right? I mean, you could incorporate that into a gimmick of, like an Armada figure, you put a Minicon on top and it pops out guns and stuff. Sure, have that as a gimmick, but not make that a toy. You know?
Because I think that right now what we're experiencing is the brand is spreading itself way too thin.
Yeah, it is.
Areas.
Like I said earlier on about you go to a toy shop and there's all different. You dart in your eye which one to pick. But you go to Fortnite or Pokemon or wrestling figures, they're all in the same fucking boxes. Even figures from when wrestlers from when we were kids are in the new style boxes, so you can see that's a WWF figure. And even though it's like Ultimate Warrior or Macho Man Randy Savage, you can see that was from when I was a kid. Here kid, you like whatever wrestler now, The Rock for example. I like this guy. We're gonna go home. We're gonna play wrestling. To your little kid, that's what you do. But anyway, so yeah, unify the brand. I would advertise
Yeah.
You know, fucking
promotion
promote everywhere. Comic books,
bring back
TV
advert.
shows, websites, Facebook.
Go on an advertising blitzkrieg, for crying out loud.
Yeah, exactly. Just blanket the area. Posters on the side of a bus or at a bus stop. Here's the new toys. Show pictures of the new toys. Show pictures of the new show. You know, watch these guys in action on Nickelodeon at 5 p.m. for example. That sort of stuff I want to see back. Or even join us on Netflix. Every Wednesday there's a new Transformers episode.
Also as well, the one thing I wanted to mention quickly, and this is something that TJ Omega brought up, in regards to how the recent show has kind of just been, shoveled off to Paramount in the most worst time slot possible. Have that either before or after school.
Yes.
Not in the middle.
Yeah.
Never in the middle, because if you've got a cartoon that kids are watching, have them either before school or after school, even on Saturday mornings, the weekends.
Yeah.
Because those are the best times to watch cartoons.
But it comes back to the whole thing of when we were kids, what was the day we looked forward to most? Saturday morning, you get your breakfast, you get up at 8 o'clock and watch cartoons all day.
Pretty much.
Or at least till dinner time, and then you'd go out with your mates, right? And that's because that's what you did,
But in answer to your question, that's pretty much what I would do. I would definitely say try have some bravery to do new things, because I think that right now the brand is kind of really sandwiched in this idea of let's embrace familiarity, let's not try new things, let's not have the bravery to take risks. And I think
you've also also have to back that up with good, talented people behind it. You need good writers. You need good visual storytellers as well.
But there is good writers and there's good storytellers, good artists, good everything.
No, you're right. No,
there
what I
is.
mean is the people in charge need to look at what. Say, for example, somebody's done Rick and Morty, for example. Whatever you think about Rick and Morty, I love. It's well written. It's well put together. So something, if you can go right, you can do cartoons really well. Let us, do a Transformers show.
Yeah,
and obviously they've got to, make it kiddified a touch, less of the dick and fart joke. But you know what I mean. But what I'm saying is that is I'd look to somebody like that and gone, right, you know how to put a cartoon, visually stellar story. I mean, like I said, say what you want about Rick and Morty. All the cartoons do look pretty to look at when they've got like big space backgrounds and stuff, right? Some of that,
and
like
it's kind of sad how we are now in this post point in the franchise where, if you remember, I mean, going back to Beast Wars, when writers like Bob Ford and Larry DiTillio were brought on and had no idea in regards to Transformers, and so they were, and I mean, watch the 2 interviews that both Larry and Bob did in regards to their creative process, to how they worked on the show, and it's some of the most fascinating bit of insight in how a writer that's unfamiliar with something can get brought into something and learn about it and learn about its fan base and learn about the conception of it and do everything possible to, familiarize themselves with what they're working on, and then be schooled on, okay, so this is the character, this is what they do, this is the area, and so everything else like that comes along.
Absolutely,
and it's frustrating that right now we haven't got that anymore. And whereas now, because Transformers has become this huge IP that has lasted as long as it has, now everyone and their dog knows what Transformers is.
Yeah.
So the chance of bringing someone who's unfamiliar with it is so unlikely, and I feel that I think is really. That is sad to me, because I think, going back on Tony and what you were saying about bringing good writers, you can bring in good writers, but I think it really helps to have somebody who's unfamiliar with what Transformers is. And now that we haven't got that anymore, that mystery has kind of been killed, because when you don't have that, and when you have somebody that knows who Optimus and Megatron and everything else is, that surprise isn't there anymore, and it's frustrating to see that that's now gone, because I think that if God forbid, if this franchise hadn't become successful, and if it had only been around for as long as it did, and then came back through word of mouth because someone wanted to see it come back, bring in an unknown writer who hasn't heard of it and let them just cut loose and have full creative control and do whatever they want.
See, it can work because when Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, Nicholas Meyer, the director, knew nothing of Star Trek at all. He knew it existed and he knew Spock and the Enterprise, like most people do. If you ask them on the street, tell me something about Star Trek, you'll get the Enterprise, Spock, and Kirk, and maybe Picard, right? Okay? So he comes in, they bring him in and go, right, do a film, basically. And what he did was, knew nothing, went back and watched every original series episode, wrote a script, and between a few other writers as well, come back with, and then what is Wrath of Khan? The best Star Trek film. So it can be done. It can be done with a non-fan gone, right, this is cool. I like this idea. We'll bring this in. We'll do this with that. We'll take rid of that, get rid of that bit, not do that so much, and put it all in together and go, right, here's Wrath of Khan, Yeah. So it can happen. But the other side of the coin, though, is, you bring in somebody who's got no idea, who's got nothing to, doesn't know how to write, doesn't know how to write characters, and then all they do is MacGuffin. Is we have to find the MacGuffin for the whole season, right? And that gets very tedious. Star Trek Discovery, and I'll keep going back to that. Each season, it's we have to find X. We have to solve this mystery. Well, you can have a MacGuffin in, but you can also have standalone episodes.
Yeah.
Star Trek Enterprise Season 3, Deep Space Nine Season 6 and 7 is a prime example of that. You've got an overarching story, but you can also have standalone episodes within that story, which is what I think we need to have. We need to have episodic stuff that you don't need to watch the whole season to work out what's going on. You can just go, hey, Transformers is on. I'll watch this one. That was a great episode. And you don't necessarily mean you have to go back and watch the next episode.
Because I swear to God, because I swear to God, the last thing that I want to see in a new cartoon is, we've got to go after the Earth, the Allspark again. Yeah. It's like, how many times have we recycled that plot? It's been rehashed too many times. Move away from it. Try, just do something else. I mean, have the bravery to do something different with the stories that you write instead of just here's a familiar idea, do that, So So I think
the whole season just on the fact that you go, right, like I said earlier on, the Megatron and Optimus Prime have left Cybertron, disappeared. We have to find them, right? But you can have cool adventures trying to find them. You don't necessarily, episode 1 leads directly into episode 2. Episode 2 leads directly into episode 3. You can have them go, right, we've received a transmission. It's in this direction. Let's go and investigate. And they encounter an alien race or an anomaly or something that's standalone. But you can, like I said earlier, about just, hey, it's on TV, I'll watch it. That was a great episode. And you don't need to see the next episode to find out what's going on. That sort of thing. And it needs to be, like I say, they've got to get the balance right. Or just have episodic stuff like the G1 cartoon or the Beast Wars cartoon. Just this episode is just a different situation with these characters.
One story.
And I think that's one of the problems with TV shows as a whole now. There is a MacGuffin, we have to find it. And you have to watch the whole season to understand what's going on. When it works well, Squid Game season 1 is a prime example, works really well, right? When it works badly, The Acolyte, it's bad, and you don't need to do that. You can just have an episode where, they're reminiscing about, a battle they had 100 years ago, but that's not the way it happened. Yeah. This is the way it happened. They keep going back and forth, and like your Last Stand of the Wreckers, when they're talking about the battle and it's a sunny day and it's beautiful and this, that, and the other. Then when you actually see what happens, it was dark, it was gloomy, it was raining, that sort of thing. An episode like that would be fantastic. But you're remembering it wrong, don't you remember? We did this first and went there, and you keep cutting back to the same story but told in a different way each time.
Yeah.
Right.
It's little things like that I think are the examples of how good storytelling can be done. Yeah. And I think that when you are only focusing on just singular stories that are just something that is either really exciting or really mundane, you can make something really good out of that. As long, and of course, when you eventually build up to the season finale of a show, the best example of that, Beast Wars. Yeah. When season 1 came along, and then of course came along the Golden Disc. Then the Vok intercepted the Earth, and they were going to destroy the Earth. Optimus Prime had to sacrifice himself, and then of course, dun dun dun, cliffhanger. What happens next? Lead into season 2, and then of course a little bit of that is, you know, just getting back to just picking up the pieces and just trying to figure out what to do next.
The cliffhanger at the end of the season again has been lost. I mean, I'm going back to Star Trek again. The Best of Both Worlds Part 1 is still to this day one of the best cliffhangers in anything. You know, you've got Picard's now a Borg. They're going to assimilate the Enterprise. Holy shit, what do? We're going to fire the big weapon that we've been building on for the last sort of 10 minutes of the episode. And then fucking cuts, you know, Mr. Worf, fire, to be continued. Holy shit, what's going on? I can't wait for next season. Oh my God. You know what I mean?
So it's stuff like that needs to make a comeback.
It's what, sorry?
Stuff like that needs to make a comeback because it highlights the importance of what a good story can be. And especially in a show like, especially in a brand like Transformers that has had an amalgamation of various cartoons over the years. The one thing that I think needs to come back is the importance of raising the stakes in certain stories and how stories are told. And so I think that going forward, then there needs to be a return to certain things that certain shows were really good at, as well as just trying new things. Because if it doesn't at least walk hand in hand with either of those, then I'm really just worried about what the future of the franchise will be. Because I think that, you know, I swear to God, I don't want to see this franchise just aimed for older fans. I think
that's where it's headed. Quite honestly, I think that's because look at Legacy. I mean, you know, we've got, you know, Beast Wars Neo characters, we've got comic book characters, we've got Victory, you know, you name it. Cancelled G2 toys that were never released, we're getting in Legacy Land. Now, that's great for us collectors and going, oh my God, I can't believe we're doing that. But does little Timmy down the road really give a shit about fucking Stratus? No.
Make something for kids. For crying out loud. This is a toy line aimed for children. For crying out loud.
Star Wars is a prime example of that. Star Wars, you can have the two things. You can have the toys for kids, toys for us. You know, you can have it. The Black Series, prime example. You know, you can have the little toys and the ships that light up and do space. You know, not necessarily in scale with everything, but to a little kid doesn't matter. But to an adult, that's when he goes on HasLab and buys the £600 Millennium Falcon or whatever.
Yeah,
that's for. But like you say, bring out toys for kids.
Which is why I really think that, you know, going forward, whoever's in charge needs to learn and to accept the fact that, okay, adults like this because we grew up with this, but children of today need something that is geared exclusively to them. And I think that the only way to do that is to reignite something similar to what Armada did. Try something with that. And also as well, look at some of the best elements of past parts of this franchise, acknowledge them and use that, but also try something new. Because I think that, you know, just singling out what new possibilities this franchise could go in the future is damaging as a whole if you're not looking at it closely. So I think that where we go from here, you know, we could have. I mean, we have got so many options. Children need something too. So
well, look at Marvel. Look at the Marvel comics, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Right? You start with your big hitters: Iron Man, Captain America, Thor. You know, great. Then, after you've done the Avengers, what do? Bring us Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, I've never thought in a million years we'd ever see Guardians of the Galaxy on the big screen. But there it is.
Same here.
You've got, but they did something a little different. As well as being within part of the same universe, they did something a little bit different. So if Marvel can do it, so can Transformers. Anyway, so we've been chatting for quite some time. We're going to read some of the chats. Is that okay, boys?
That's fine.
Because we have been neglecting the chat too much.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah. So, is it Kakawal01? How was your Christmas and New Year? Yeah, it was good. Drunken, very good. Yeah, good.
Yeah,
lots of robots, lots of news. Sammy? How was your Christmas? Good?
Mine was good, yeah. Yep. Mine was really good.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Then we've got Damien.
If you click on them, they actually come up on the screen.
Oh, do they?
So you can actually, there you go.
Well, there you go. I didn't know that. There you go.
There you go.
How was your New Year? Right, okay. Next on. Damien, howdy. As I said to Nosey last night, I'm sick of the same characters being done a million times. Oh, that's why my interest is not once what it was. Yeah, exactly what we've been saying the whole time.
How you doing, Damien?
Yeah. Hey, Damien.
Yeah, I completely agree because we had a little back and forth in the comments. This was the video I uploaded last night talking about the decline of Transformers and my points on it. And we had a bit of back and forth, and he brings up some interesting ideas because, like saying, like we just spoken about, like it's getting boring and getting stale.
Well, I don't think it's on a decline as such.
No,
but
what I mean
just
is
in that point of you know what I mean? It's at its peak, and it's just
no. That's what I'm meaning is that I'm not saying it's boring completely. I'm just saying it's like generic. There's like a lot of generic stuff. It's the same characters all the time. It's the same like Optimus Prime thing, like we were just saying about.
There's no risks being taken.
Yeah, like why don't we like inject some creativity into the line a bit? And that's basically what we're back and forthing about, really.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Remedy says. Everyone's forgetting that Hasbro sold their one media company back in 2023. The company was supposed to produce media outlets for Hasbro like movies. That's true. They did do that, yeah. I mean, like I say, Hasbro had their own channel. They had the Hub, didn't they, back in the day?
Yeah, that lasted about a year.
It's been gone about 5 years, I think, at this point. You know.
Yeah, it came out because they had the MLP side of it bringing out because it was like a big thing, wasn't it? So they did the pony side. And then they did obviously Transformers, which was Prime, I think, at the time.
Yeah, Prime, yeah. But weren't they doing
them?
And then
they did G.I. Joe Renegades, I think.
No, that was before that.
Was it before that?
And that was one season as well. But no, you're right. That came out round about the same time Prime did. But I don't.
G.I. Joe Renegades came out in 2011, and it was cancelled because I have no idea who thought this idea was. Okay, so we're going to run the cartoon first, and then we're going to sell the toys afterwards.
Yeah.
That's a bad business handling. That's not how you do it. The idea is supposed to you're supposed to run those things alongside each other, not have
you're supposed to bring out the toys first, then air the show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, any child that's watching that show and I want Duke, I want Roadblock, I want
this character. Yeah.
Go out there.
There they are.
The toys aren't there. So
yeah.
So whoever was in charge of that poor business handling should have been fired. I hope they were. That's not how you run toys. That's not how you run anything like that ever.
So Remedy also comes out with without one media, Hasbro has no reason to invest into movies, and this was long before Transformers 1, the movie release. It's true, yeah. And then he's gone on to say, not to mention Disney made Hasbro lose a lot of money. They did. They really did, yeah. Producing all that Star Wars stuff that just nobody buys. You know? Then we've got is it Iconus Toy Reviews? Just saying hi. Hey, how's it going? Good live stream. Good so far, yeah. And then we've got Tabarelli. So you have to realise that you're not a kid anymore. My 8-year-old nephew loves the current Transformers stuff. It's also nostalgia with us growing up and wanting more adult Transformers and Michael Bay stuff, tapped into the 10 to 15 market. That's true too. I mean, we are, but the thing is though as well is with that, there's a lot of nostalgia bait in other franchises as well. You remember this from back when, you know?
Yeah.
Star Wars has done it, Marvel has done it, you know, like putting, you know, the Loki TV show, having the original cartoon Loki there and all that sort of stuff, original comic book Loki there, you know, all that sort of stuff, you know. Doctor Who's done it, everything's done it. So it's not just unique to Transformers. You'll find everything's done it. You remember this from that, you know, like Multiverse of Madness when Professor X shows up and they play the X-Men cartoon theme, you know, that sort of thing. Hey kids, you remember this from when you were a kid, you know. So what else have we got here? We've got Smith Snurge says, boys.
All right.
How are you doing? Congrats on the new job, by the way.
Smith.
I've got Tabarelli again. Michael Bay is also executive on all Transformers stuff now, so he gets input. I don't think he does to a certain extent. I think he just collects the paycheck, quite honestly. I don't think he gives a shit.
He's just producer.
Yeah.
Even Steven Spielberg.
I've seen his name. Yeah, I've seen his name and Spielberg attached to everything after everything related to Transformers, and
Yeah.
I get the feeling that their involvement is nil at this point, non-existent.
Yeah. I'll collect a paycheck. Thank you very much. I'll go home.
Yeah.
And that's basically it. It's Lorenzo Bonaventura that has these fingers in.
He's the problem, I think. I think he's the problem because he was also Transformers 1 production as well, wasn't he?
Yeah. So he's the one that changed.
But whatever his name is, Dave Bonaventura, he basically can't seem to get away from the Michael Bay formula.
But there's that, but he doesn't know anything because if you listen to the Kevin Smith interview he did when he's talking about Superman Lives, and he said about don't want to see him in a suit, don't want to see him fly, and he's going to fight a giant spider at some stage. What? And then Ty goes, "Oh, Happy New Year, chaps! Happy New Year to you."
Happy New Year.
And then we've got Damien. The Bay Farmers are more like OG. I think G.I. Joe movies, the soldiers, humans being the main characters, while Transformers are secondary characters. Yes. Exactly, yeah. I had this conversation with somebody at TF Nation once, and somebody said to me, I think somebody's dad, just said to me, he goes, "Oh, well, why do you like the Bay movies?" I said, "Well, put it like this. The first Avengers comes out, and it's all about the police. When Captain America goes, "Oh, put a roadblock there and down to 50th Street," and gives them all the orders, and then he goes, "Who are you?" And then he does all the orders. So imagine the film all about those coppers, and then occasionally Iron Man drops in and goes, "Keep the good work up," and flies back off again. And you see them fighting in the distance. That's what it's like.
Yeah.
So I'm getting into my rant mode. I do apologise. No, it's fine. Remember to again. Don't cross the streams. Wait, never mind. Wrong foot. And then, hey, it's Sammy. I wonder who that is. Hey, guys.
Yeah.
Tabarelli again. Rogue One. Had another trailer. Had footage that wasn't in the movie. Yes. But that had reshoots after reshoot after reshoot. And that's what makes me worried about Captain African American, as people are calling it. I'm just not excited. It's been reshot, I think, 4 times at this stage, and it's run up a cost of something ridiculous, $500 million.
The appeal of the Marvel films has completely waned in the last few years because they are no longer. We've been saturated with the whole comic book movie landscape for the last couple of years, and I think that now we're at
this point, nearly.
Yeah, and now the Marvel are trying so hard to bounce back with whatever they're doing with this. It feels like okay, the party is still going, but everyone's gone home.
Yeah. There's that one guy still in the corner going, "Whoa!" Yeah, like at TFN when everybody's gone to bed and there's still 2 people. Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. So Tabarelli, current Hasbro overload. Doesn't want to find movies. I'm guessing he wanted it to die. I think so. I'm pretty sure of that. Fun. Sorry, not fun. Not fine. Fun. Sorry. And we've got Subprime Showcase. Hey guys, Adam White. Hey Adam, how's it going?
Hey Adam.
Damien again. Don't forget the Japanese Beast Wars Neos and Beast Wars second movies. Yeah, they're weird, but good weird. They're the old Unicron thing, and and then you've got Break as a fucking penguin and Long Rack and all those guys.
It would be nice to get them actual get them redubbed and re-released or something. The Neo, it was 2 Neo because they've never released them as a physical release.
Sony Japan own both of Beast Wars 2 and Neo, and I'm surprised that we had the Takara trilogy released over here in the UK, but we never got Beast Wars 2 and Neo released either.
No, we never.
I'm still baffled by that.
Yeah, me too. But it comes down to distribution rights and stuff like that, and it's there's all kinds of it's the same. It's probably the same reason why the 66 Batman show never got released until I want to say, was it 2018? I think on Blu-ray. It never had because Fox produced the show, and Fox is now owned by Disney, and then and of course Batman's owned by Warner Brothers. Nobody could get into, it was that's why it was always on TV. And then obviously they started that rights out. But I think it's that kind of issue. It's like one company owns the rights for, maybe it's Takara owns the rights to Transformers.
It's a case of going through so many gates to get to this one person. We need to get to another gate to get to that person. It's like going through. It's a whole palaver, and I think that's kind of why those two particular shows. I don't think. I mean, maybe not in my lifetime, but I mean, I would be willing to think that maybe they would get released.
Eventually, hopefully.
Eventually. Yeah.
Okay, what's next? We've got Subprime Showcase. TF1 was meant to come out in the summer. Sadly, it was advertised to the young audience that would flock to it. They changed the date and they failed to change the advertising. That's correct. Yeah.
Yep. That's true.
Shame, really. We've got Raymond T again. Well, technically, Transformers Prime, Predacons Rising was also an animated movie, as well as Beast Wars 2 from Japan, also an animated, even theatrical. But I get you. Yeah, we was on about the Transformers failing at the cinema. But then the G1 movie failed at the cinema back in the day, so,
They did, yeah.
So Prime again. Honestly, kids are so starved of entertainment. Last summer release of old kids' films were doing better than any release TF1 would have done well. It's true. The films that have done well in the last sort of 2 or 3 years have been re-releases of films. They re-released all the original Star Wars. They re-released the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. Even the Batman films, didn't they? The Tim Burton Batman films. So all these older films have done bank because people love those films, and it's a way of getting you back to the cinema.
Yeah.
More of that.
It would be nice. I think. I think that when we get to the anniversary of it, the '86 movie has got to be released in cinemas.
I hope so, but the one thing I worry about that is though, because TF1 didn't do what they was expecting, it might not happen now.
No,
and they'll probably release it on Blu-ray again. That means I'll have to buy it again. But I'll buy it. I mean, the films I own the most, in a single film I own the most, Transformers the movie and the original Dawn of the Dead. I own those two movies more than any other movie that's on here, and downstairs, and in the other room that's full of fucking DVDs. Fingers crossed that they bring it out. But after this fiasco with that, there's a doubt in my mind that we might not see it. So Raymond T says hi. Hi. Damien again. Dreamwave was awesome. Best comics by far. Way better than the woke PC garbage from IDW. Not surprised they lost the license. I agree. Dreamwave is very underrated.
Dreamwave deserves respect.
It does. I mean, in a way, they sort of kicked the franchise back off again because don't forget when they came out. Was it 2000? I want to say it was
around 2001, I think.
Yeah, so around that sort of early 2000s-ish. Because don't forget, at that time, we've just seen the end of Beast Machines. And Robots in Disguise is kind of out-ish.
Mm-hmm.
Again, they did the same thing with that. They put it on I think it was on Fox Kids at fucking something ridiculous like 6:30 on a Saturday morning. So no one fucking watched it. But the toys were out, and then, and then it was just like, holy shit, G1. And it was the first G1 thing I think I'd seen since G1. And I fucking went nuts and bought everything I could get my hands on.
Yeah.
So, what else? We've got the Jer Bear, Jeremy Seabolt. Happy New Year to all.
Happy New Year. Hope you're well.
Yeah, Subprime again. It's natural that franchise have slumps. In fact, the episodes can make that grow fonder. I needed a good break after bit. Yes, I think that's true. I think a break for at least maybe 5 years of anything, even cartoons, continue the comic books, continue the toys, but just have a media break.
Let the brand go quiet for a few years and then bounce back with a surprise.
Yeah, Star Wars it
Yeah, it reflects a lot on what I said before. Is that because of everything that's come out in regards to the Transformers films, we've all been burned out, and with everything that's happened, it was very hard to get excited about one. Then it came out, and then it failed due to various things behind the scenes. But I think what the brand needs to do is take a step back and just let it breathe for maybe a few years. Let the comics still go and let the toys still go, whatever. And then bounce back for something for kids and build up that excitement again. Because
I think the way to do it is
I agree.
Have a break. Like I said, keep the comics going, keep the toys going, keep Legacy, Studio Series, all that stuff going off, or whatever version Legacy is. Age of Primes, I think, is next in it, but it's Legacy by any other name. Let's be honest. So yeah, keep them going and just quietly, not bury it, but just hey, we're still here, and then go, right, boom, fucking Transformers 2, out of nowhere, trailer drops, and they drop it every fucking where. Right in front of the next Marvel film, boom, holy shit, it's a new Transformers film, looks really good, might have to go see that. And then
the thing is, what I find interesting about this new line that's coming out of Thailand is that obviously the primes are mentioned in Transformers 1, of course, the whole lore and everything, and you see them. You see Alpha Trion and everything. And what I find interesting is that obviously this line's obviously been planned for a bit, no doubt. But the fact is that Transformers 1 heavily kind of talks about or goes into the lore of like the first Transformers. It says about, the whole, technically the Covenant of Primus kind of deal thing with the original Transformers as the original 13 primes. And then all of a sudden, we're getting a line that is more dedicated to them. So it's kind of like, did Transformers 1 somehow maybe kind of rekindle that line somehow? And even though it was a theatrical box office flop, but yet there's a line that's coming out that sort of supports Transformers 1 with where it went in its story.
Well, no, I think it was just kind of we're establishing where the Transformers come from in the film. I think I don't think we would have seen them again as such. Maybe they would have referenced them here, there, that sort of thing. But I don't think it would have been about them specifically. I think it was just kind of coincidental. I think they were always planning to do Age of Primes as a toy line anyway. But I think it just it's one of those things that it all fell into place at the same time, sort of thing. I could be wrong on that, but that's just my personal theory.
Yeah, I just found it could be a big consequence, a bit of a consequential thing, but I just find it interesting is that the main core storyline of Transformers 1, even the Transformers lore anyway, the 13 primes have always been a thing. But the fact is that Transformers 1 comes out and it becomes a failure, then all of a sudden, like, oh, here we go, here's the Fallen, here's this, toys that you can buy already, and it's, soon. I just find it interesting that, I'm wondering if there was some positive with Transformers 1 to a degree, mostly because of the primes.
Well, I think so.
Or it's just a consequential thing.
I think it's possible, yeah. And I think it's, but like I said, it's good for the brand. It gives you world building. So it's not just Autobots versus Decepticons. There is a whole civilization. There is a religious thing going on as well. So you've got all those elements in, that are, analogous to real life, So you've got, because there are, whatever religion you believe in, it's up to you. But not necessarily everybody believes that. And then you get conflict, and then you've got a war, and then you've got this, that, and the other thing, which goes into Transformers really, really well. Because the Decepticons can believe this, the Autobots can believe that. One guy in the back might believe something completely different, which is what reality is as well, isn't it? Let's be honest. So you've got that element of you can understand because that's what we see on a daily basis, so to speak.
Yeah.
Anyway, so next we've got Ty Burrelli. Real Machine. These folks were sequel that would had Cullen's voice. Yeah.
Well, I'm a little concerned about that because
just going to bring that up.
I think at some point we need to just admit that as much as we love Peter Cullen, the man is getting on.
Yeah,
and at some point, I think we need to come to terms with the fact that he won't be around forever. I mean, despite the fact that he's still going, and despite the fact that he still wants to continue doing Optimus Prime, I think that as good as it is to let him be involved as Optimus Prime, I remember watching a video that TJ Omega was talking about. I think, Peter Cullen has been doing this now for 40 years. I think he deserves that chance to, ride off into the sunset and celebrate his career of success for what he's been doing as Optimus Prime, and not drag him into the recording booth and say the same old lines that he always does.
There is that too,
and it also as well, I think by just having Peter Cullen come back and say what he always says, you're singling out other opportunities from other Optimus Primes that have come and gone throughout the years.
Yeah, I mean, there's been Gary Chalk, there was Neil Kaplan,
Alan Tudyk and David Kane.
Alan Tudyk, so yeah, I mean, you can do it. I mean, you could even do it if you want him still there. You could even do what James Earl Jones did and record every conceivable sound of the English language, and then have AI put it together. But that's a whole different thing entirely. I'm like you, Sammy. I would like to see him continue as long as he can, but also let him have one last hurrah right into the sunset. The same goes for Frank Welker as well. I mean, he's pushing 80. So I think, I think he doesn't have the chance to do Megatron anymore as much as we wish he could. Yeah.
So I think if, and this is a big if, there is a sequel. I mean, and someone mentioned this idea as well quickly. Someone said, okay, we can't have Cullen and Welker play Optimus and Megatron. Instead, let them play Primus and Unicron, and let's try a whole passing of the torch idea. Yeah,
but even mix it up and have Peter Cullen as Unicron and Frank Welker as Primus, just to mix it up slightly. I mean, look at Venger in Dungeons and Dragons cartoon. It's an evil Optimus Prime voice, but it works so fucking well, So imagine that kind of voice coming out of Unicron.
Exactly, it could work, and I think I think it could work, and you know what I mean. I don't wish it, but I think you never know what the future is going to hold, and for as long as they are around, let them do what they are doing up to the point where they can no longer do it anymore.
Yeah. I mean, the other side of the coin, though, is, like you say, you can't keep wheeling them out every 5 minutes for every show. I mean, look at Star Trek Picard, to bring Star Trek back in. Patrick Stewart is in he's 83, and he wasn't looking well, bless him, in that series, and I'm Nemesis, just as bad as that film was, that's the last Picard, you know what I mean? But anyway. But season 3 kind of made up for it a little bit, but that's a whole different discussion. Anyway, next one. So Prime again. Sadly, marketing has screwed up the release date scheduled, and in hindsight, intensive fan screening was simply panicking to catch up. They really were. And especially bringing it out when the Wild Robot was coming out. That got advertised fucking through the yin-yang, that thing.
Yeah. Well, that's how you promote a film.
Exactly, yeah, exactly that, yeah. I mean, it's like, well, do you see that or do you see Transformers? I think, it might have been Patriot Prime said it, or somebody said that he asked his kids, do you want to go see Wild Robot or Transformers 1? Didn't even know Transformers 1 was out. I'm not sure it was Patriot Prime. It was somebody like that. I watched a live stream the other day about it. I don't think it was him. Sorry, my brain is just going to turn into mush. But no, so if kids know that Wild Robot is out, they should have known Transformers was out, is what I'm saying. Okay, next one is Prime again. Sorry, stop it. I will stop typing about this. Okay, no problem. And we've got Jeremy Siebert. My opinion, sadly, Transformers has been put on the pedestal in the likes of Avengers, and it will never be that. It's true. They only make toys for us. We've only got kids involved. Transformers make a PhD to transform. Yeah, complex doesn't equal good, in my opinion. I said that as well. A good transformer doesn't have to be complicated. As long as it does the job, you can get a robot into a car and back again. Perfect. If that's just twist, arms in, click together, done. The Bayverse toys, I think that's the other thing with the Bayverse. I didn't mention it before, but the Bayverse toys are just insane to make into a robot.
Oh, do you remember the Human Alliance ones?
I don't even get started on them. I saw them years and years ago. I don't think I've got any around, I don't think.
Oh, I threw a couple across the room, I think.
I think everyone did at one stage or another. So next on we have Subprime. Remember, a studio would want to make a game featuring Transformers, pitch it, possibly Hasbro, own attitude to have stop studios doing that. But isn't the current CEO of Hasbro the former CEO of Microsoft?
Yeah, it's Chris Cox, because
That's it,
he
yeah.
said, okay, so we're now moving away from doing movies based on IPs. We're now going to move into video games. Fast forward to that, Reactivate gets cancelled. So you are all the way in, or you're only halfway in, and you don't really feel motivated to be committed to it. So
Is that also, again, it comes back to Transformers 1. I don't think they made it the money they were supposed to, and I think a lot of that money would have gone into the game as well.
yeah,
But this is not the first time a Transformers game has got cancelled. Wasn't that MMO?
Transformers
Universe, yeah. It didn't even... I don't think I ever saw screen footage for it.
Yeah, they did a showcase thing that they had, an auto assembly, was it?
Yeah.
TFN?
I've got some lanyards from it somewhere.
Yeah, I remember
Universe would have been a great game to do. Going back to Star Trek. Star Trek Online, right? You can wear any uniform from any series, have any ship from any series, and you can customize them however you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can have legacy crew, you can have Vulcans, Cardassians, Romulans, Klingons, Borg, as part of your crew, okay? Now imagine doing something like that with Transformers. So you start it off, say for example, the current thing that's out, let's say Prime, for example. Prime is the current thing that's out. You start it off with Transformers that look like characters from Transformers Prime. You can't play as Optimus, Soundwave, and all the regular characters because they're recognizable. But you can create a character based on those designs. So the next expansion comes along, they go, hey, we're doing G1. So now they look like G1 with the G1 sound. And then they go, right, you can go to Nebulos, get a Target Master or a Headmaster or a Power Master or a Pretender. And then they go, right, we're going to go to Beast Wars. You can look like Beast Wars characters. So you can have any version of Transformers that you love as your main character. How cool a game would that be? So you can have Bayverse walking around with G1 and Armada. You can get Minicons or Target Masters and, or look like beasts and stuff. And they are to scale. So you've got the G1 pretty big, Beast Wars real small, and you've got powers based on those, forms. Wouldn't that be the game to do? It would appeal to every fan.
Yeah, I agree.
Sorry, I'm just ranting there. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
So, Subprime again. Meanwhile, Earth Wars is still microtransaction, earning money from TF since 2016, 8.5 years. I think I played it for about 10 minutes and then deleted it. It was just boring.
I never played it. I mean, I again, Transformers as a franchise is very weird when it comes to video games, because lately it only seems to just go straight to the mobile devices and never to anything console related.
Yeah, I agree. I've tried Earth Wars and it's just boring.
It's just one of those games to just smash really hard on your dopamine glands and then just get that going.
Yeah, and then you can't play for 24 hours unless you pay.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then because there's a Star Trek one that's exactly the same type of thing as well, and there's a Star Wars one, and there's all different ones going on, and it's the same thing. You can play for a couple of hours, and then you've got to wait till tomorrow to play it again.
Yeah, you have to buy like Energon crystals in order to kind of awaken or
rank up everything,
get new characters.
But then you look at games like Angry Birds. You can play that all fucking day if you wanted to. Or you can play for 5 minutes, right? Again, you could do a Transformers game like that. You could play for 5 minutes or for 5 hours. It's that type of thing. Like Lego games are a great example of that. You can play Lego Star Wars or Lego Indiana Jones or whatever it is. You can play that game for 10 minutes or 10 hours because there's so much stuff to do, so much stuff to unlock. And they're very silly, but they're entertainingly silly. Give us a Transformers game like that.
Yeah. Transformers Lego game. That'd be good.
Something like that, yeah.
It's also for the kids. It's a kid thing. So.
Exactly, yeah. So you can play with your kids. You can get the game out and play with your kids. Yeah.
Instead of it being bloody Fortnite.
Yeah. Rem and T again. Also weird stigma in Hollywood around Transformers. I remember the Variety doing a promo bit when Helly Sanford for Bumblebee movie. Oh yeah, that was weird. Yeah.
What was that about?
It was just oh fucking hell, what was it exactly? It was like she won when she went on a TV show, she wouldn't talk about it or something like that. It was, I remember the thing, but I don't remember specifics because I just went, oh fucking hell, another Hollywood type that just did it for the paycheck, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, that's fine. I understand that sort of thing because sometimes you just have to do it for the paycheck. You know, we've all done jobs we've hated just for money. Let's be honest. You know, and Hollywood is no different. But at least promote the film you're in. You know, because you might get a bit of extra money for it, but it releases here and there.
The one thing that you should never do. I mean, if you're part of something and you can't promote it because you're embarrassed of it, then that's a huge warning sign right there.
Yeah. Well, look at Madam Web. When they were promoting Madam Web, they actually thought they were in an MCU film, and it was a Sony film. Oops.
Yeah, that was womp.
Yeah. Anyway, less said about Madam Web, the best. Remedy again, and then every. Then deleted every mention of Transformers on the video. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they just didn't want to talk about it. So Prime, Remedy, will ever seek out? Oh, I will go seek that out. Sounds shocking. All right, okay. Transformers the show. Hey everyone. Hey.
Hello.
Hello. Remedy again. Last year, Stanley Tucci called out Variety and did a YouTube video with him about favorite roles, and he admitted the Transformers ones. Yeah, it seems to be embarrassing, you know.
Well, I mean, I think I can understand a little bit about where he's coming from, because I think at that point, the movies people were burned out from the movies, and I think when anyone ever talked about the Michael Bay films, it's like, okay, all right, I'm part of this. I don't like this film, but I guess I'm just gonna go see it.
It's like what Alec Guinness did when he did Star Wars. I think he did it to promote the films.
Yes.
And then he just went, radio silent about it. And then he was on, I think it was Parkinson back in 77 or 78. So a year later after the show, and he mentioned Star Wars, and he just said, well, it was a film I did, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. It was for kids, didn't really care about it. And he said, what I did care about was the paycheck, which is fair enough, you know.
Of course, yeah.
Because he got 2% of the fucking total gross. Smart move, that. Then we've got Soprano. People forget Bumblebee had one of the toughest release dates of any movie and did pretty well thanks to the small budget. Hasbro should have built on the home media series. Were very good. It was, yeah. It did have a hell of a reduced budget, but it was well written.
But the thing is, I think that's actually a very smart move, because with Bumblebee, they went back to basics.
They did.
What I like is they made it simple. You had two bad guys.
The first movie should have been in the first place.
Yeah, you had like the main Bumblebee as the main character, of course. There was no Optimus Prime, there was no Megatron, there was nothing. It was just Dropkick and Shatter, and they were the focused two bad guys, and that was it. And then
I think one of the best, and I think one of the best things you could do for a movie like that is to keep it as pared down and as small as possible, which is kind of why I didn't really like Rise of the Beast that much, because so we started off with something small and not anything as big as we could have done. Now we're moving on to Rise of the Beast, and now big explosions, big fights, and and the same thing that we've done before. And I think that the one thing that I would say that I think for me personally killed what the plan for that was if you were going to do another Transformers film, don't just focus on yet another MacGuffin hunt and big finale of a big fight, because there's only a limited amount of times you can do that to the point where it starts to feel a bit formulaic. And what I loved about Bumblebee was that it was just small. Yes. It was probably the best way that I could see Bumblebee as like the prologue to what could have been a trilogy of good live action films to build to something really big down the line.
I think,
and I really feel that with Rise of the Beasts, it kind of collapsed that.
Yeah,
and it killed that plan altogether.
It's because, the fact that Bumblebee transforms into a Beetle, and I'm like, yes, finally, for fucking God knows how long, he's back to being a Volkswagen Beetle. Of course, G1er in me is going, yes, love it. But what ruined it for me is, at the end of the film, he goes back to they're turning back to the Camaro. But my favourite shot of the whole film is when you see Optimus Prime in truck mode, the fucking G1 truck driving down the Golden Gate Bridge. That was
good.
The,
That was good.
Cinema's gold.
Yeah, why wasn't that in the first fucking movie? But Bumblebee should have still been the fucking VW Beetle.
Yeah, but you know what they were trying to lead into, trying to connect it. It's
even though they said it was nothing to do with it.
The thing is, they tried to even. This is what I don't understand about the Bumblebee film. It's very confusing because, again, it's D. Buller and Jura.
Yeah.
And basically, there was basically saying Bumblebee's the prequel to the 07 film, and this all leads into that. And from and then they were saying no, the Bumblebee film is meant to be kind of like a reboot, basically trying to reboot the timeline. But then they made Rise of the Beast, and you're like, wait, where are they going with it?
Where does this fit? Yeah.
And then it's meant to be the 90s, of course, with it. You know, obviously it's the 80s for Bumblebee, then it's the 90s for Rise of the Beast, which makes sense.
Not a bad thing. I mean, there's some really good pop culture references in there. Like when one thing I really did like is when they're talking to each other through the radios. Brilliant. Fucking, I love that. That was fantastic. And the colour of the Autobot symbol changed whoever was talking. Genius move. Fucking fantastic. I love that idea. I also love when Mirage says, when he says, oh, did you know Marky Mark's leaving the Funky Bunch and considering starting acting? I fucking laughed my tits off at that. But
I must admit, right, I will say I did enjoy Rise of the Beasts, and I enjoyed Bumblebee as well. But I will say my main issues with Rise of the Beasts, I've mentioned it before, and I don't have a problem. I thought Unicron was handled brilliantly. I liked the bad guys. I thought they were better bad guys. I thought they had more of a threat to them, you know. However, with it meant to technically be a sequel to Bumblebee or continuation past Bumblebee, what the hell do they do with Wheeljack?
Yeah,
I don't know.
And they made him Mexican. They made him a Mexican. What the hell?
And now he's called Pablo.
Yeah, they called him Pablo.
I mean, if they just called him Pablo, fine. What?
Yeah.
I mean,
I really think that character should have been Beachcomber. If I'm being honest.
Yes.
Or just a generic character they made up.
Just somebody made up. Yeah, it would have been fine as well.
Also,
because I mean, you go back to Bumblebee. That first 5 minutes of the opening bit on Cybertron, amazing. I was like, finally, we're getting a Transformers. And I remember seeing it at the cinema, and I'm shouting out, "Brawn, Wheeljack, RC, Ironhide!" You know, in the middle of the Thundercracker, Skywalker, and of course, Soundwave pops up, and what does he do? He has the voice, and he ejects Ravage, and I fangirled so unbelievably hard.
And then you got
Shockwave. Might have been a little bit damp when I got up.
And then you got Shockwave that actually sounds like Shockwave.
And his eye flashed, and everything. Wheeljack's ears flashed, and G1.
Yeah.
And I love the bit when the Seekers all shoot the missiles and they all go round like that in sequence. Beautiful shot, that. I loved it.
You know, I'd have had the whole film just like that, really.
But, you know.
It would have been too expensive.
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay, Subprime again. Instead, they went Beast Wars and looked, we just thought that. Killed momentum. And then you created Transformer on Whiplashed again. Yeah, it's true. Raymond T. Subprime, agreed. These types of movies make money during the 4th of July weekend, not September, October, November. Again, exactly what I said earlier on.
Yeah. I will just say quickly about the other thing I didn't like about Rise of the Beast is I thought Airazor was a bit of a wasted character in that film.
Yeah, it's like Michelle Yeoh. It's like, okay, she's a good actress, but why does she need to be in everything at the minute?
Yeah. But what I didn't like is that Airazor, for me, I think she's a great character in the original.
She's in Beast Wars, yeah.
In Beast Wars, she's a great character, even though she doesn't have much screen time in that either. But she's a good character, and the fact is, apparently they did have a design for her to actually transform.
Yeah, she did transform.
They decided not to bother, and apparently. Obviously there's 2 different toys for Airazor, isn't there, within the toy line? You know, there's a Studio Series one and a normal one, and it's basically just based on the another Airazor that they brought out.
It was the Legacy one, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah. And what I don't understand is that they originally was going to make her transform, but then they decided not to bother, so they just killed her off. And I was like,
yeah,
he just destroyed a
and the death doesn't really. It's not even a oh my god, I can't believe they killed her off kind of death. It was like, oh, okay, she's dead now. Oh.
Yeah, I didn't have. I didn't.
Something that was there for an afterthought.
Yeah,
No,
and then
yeah.
everybody in the audience and everybody on the screen just moved on and never mentioned her again anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Remedy says John is about to tell the kids to get off his lawn.
Get off my lawn.
Subprime, Remedy, is ever...
He has a
he
baseball bat.
isn't it? Damn you kids! Then he's put, don't mention Smith's Toys. Yeah, we won't. Smith's Toys. Mr. Kite, all right, guys, big fan watching Australia. Oh, thanks for watching. Oh, so far away. Love the blogs, John. Originally from Crew in the UK. Keep up the good work. Need more live streams like this one. Yes, that is the plan. I do plan to do more.
I also want to get back into the live stream thing as well. Now I'm back to normal.
Yeah, I got Christmas out of the way, and I'm going to really do it. So Prime again. All of the TF films were free on Amazon Prime recently. Would you know it unless you delved into the catalogue? That's true. Yeah. I mean, I have them on Blu-ray. I don't think I've even watched some of them, to be quite honest.
I've noticed that as well, but it's a bit annoying with Prime Video because I actually had a bit of a hankering for watching some live action ones a couple of days ago, about a week or so ago. Like I think it was during Christmas actually, and I was like, right, let's have a look. And I was like, there's only when I looked last week during Christmas, there was only about, I think, 2 or 3 of them that are actually available as free to watch through Prime themselves. Then the rest of them are mixed up with Paramount.
Yeah.
So you actually have to either buy a Paramount
on,
subscription. You have to either buy a Paramount subscription or rent or buy them. And I'm like, I'm not going to buy them again. I've already got them.
I object to that. I object to that. Now, if you're having a streaming service, have a streaming service, right? Like Netflix, and then you can watch as much as you want. But if you're asking me to buy the thing, I'm going to go out and buy the fucking disc. I'm not going to spend £3 or whatever it is, and buy and then not have it in a year's time. That's £3 just disappeared. At least I'm paying 10, 15, 20 quid.
It's why certain things on certain streaming services just go missing. And I think it's better to have, that physical media so that so there's that version that you can go to if the one on the streaming service is either lost or, worst case scenario, it's been changed and censored to suit modern audiences.
There's that as well. But there's also the thing of like I'm a big fan of extended cuts of films. Like I will watch, like The Lord of the Rings, I can only watch the extended versions of them. I can't watch the theatrical cuts. But you go looking for them, say on streaming service, they're all theatrical cuts.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, next one is
But prime example of that though, Sammy, you were mentioning about like we were saying about with online stuff. Online's good and all, I guess. Streaming's good and all to a degree, but everything has a time limit on there. And obviously they've got to make room on the servers for new stuff and so on. And what I found interesting is that obviously Netflix recently got rid of one of their original Netflix original animated series, which is Voltron Legendary Defender. They've taken it down. They've never actually released it fully, physically either.
There's a thing with that show as well.
They've only released up to season 6 in America. They never released the final 2 seasons, and they've actually deleted it because it's been up there for so long. And then,
I mean, if you get a VPN and then you set your country to whatever, I'm sure you can find it. But Voltron is another example. I didn't even know there was a Voltron show until when I was working at Entertainer. We got the toys in. I was like, wait, what? The Voltron? When did that happen?
Yeah, and Netflix are a little bit crap with certain things when it comes to even though Voltron Legendary Defender, I remember it actually did very well. It became pretty popular for on Netflix. I really enjoyed it.
And it's kind of why I think that if a show like that is Netflix made is been completely taken off the shelf, then finding it elsewhere on all the other online streaming services seems like the only way, I think.
Yeah, the thing is with Netflix as well, what I found interesting is that they're not so much now. I have noticed they are releasing physically nowadays, But when they first started producing their own stuff, say if it's like a Netflix original anime series or something they'd done or whatever, they'd never release it. And then it's only very recently that all the anime have recently kind of got I've actually got the rights to distribute a Netflix property. So it's like some stuff never actually got a physical release, such as like Voltron Legendary Defender. Even though that was in partnership with DreamWorks, and I thought, well, wouldn't somebody at DreamWorks be able to distribute this series out somehow? Because
but again,
it's a bit strange that for some reason, even though it was a very popular series, it had a big following at the time when it was coming out, and I thought it was a really, really good show, and unfortunately, it's never been fully released physically.
The thing is, I don't think particularly Netflix, I don't think they want to do physical releases now. I mean, you look at the cost of actually producing, Blu-rays, for example, and if they've got to make, say, 1 million Blu-rays to sell, that's a lot of money in, distribution, packaging, and actually burning the disc. That's a lot of money for a show that not many people watched. I mean, it does happen occasionally. Like, you'll get a DVD or Blu-ray release of a film, Transformers 1, didn't necessarily do very well, just great on DVD sales, I
think Transformers 1 probably would have worked better on Netflix.
Maybe.
I think it would have actually probably generated more foot traffic.
Maybe.
And then obviously, I think what it might have worked for it is if they did. Obviously, it's now on. I think has it gone on Paramount Plus now?
Paramount Plus, yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So, I think personally, instead of obviously I know it's Paramount Plus because it's produced by Paramount. I understand, but the fact is, I think if it was like a Netflix, I know Netflix screwed up with like that animated series they did that was real dark, based on
Siege, yeah.
Siege and that. Even though that was terrible. Even though the idea of it, the story of it was okay, but yet the voice performances were subpar.
Yeah, because it was not a SAG show, so it's kind of like they had to get sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Non-professional actors, if that makes sense.
Well, I mean, the entire voice acting performance of that was non-union because
non-union. That's what I mean. Yeah.
And I think what could have actually saved that show if they had a better voice director and if there was a bit more energy, because I really feel like the biggest problem with that show was that it retold the G1 and Beast Wars, but it did it in such a drab way.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really a good idea in mind. And it's also thanks to that particular show that made me want to go back and rewatch the original and appreciate that even more.
Yeah, same. But the thing is from that show is there's a couple of things that annoyed me. One, Megatron's lips, they were really distracting. Right? Two, anybody with a faceplate, right, was super animated when they spoke, because they didn't animate the faceplate. It's I'm talking now. You can see it's me that's talking, doing this. I'm like, all you need to do is the faceplate up and down. That's all you needed to do to find out who's talking.
Effort into that.
And the third thing that annoys me is there's only one or two characters you actually see transform on screen. You see them, and it cuts to, you hear the noise, and then it cuts to them flying off into the air. And I'm like, and the fourth thing, Bumblebee being a badass. You cannot make Bumblebee a badass. You can't do it. No, it just does not work. I mean, Transformers 1, badass for Tron. That was funny, hilarious, but he cannot be Wolverine. It cannot happen. Cliffjumper maybe, but I mean, look at the design of Bumblebee. That does not scream badass to you, does it?
No. And I think the idea of taking something like that and making it super, super grim dark, on paper, it sounds fine, and it can be done well, like it has been done in the comics. But I think it's only when you do it in cartoon form that it either goes it can either go one way or the other, and it doesn't quite go all the way in.
Yeah, there's no middle ground with that. Yeah.
No.
Anyway, so Raymond T says, I don't know about Netflix, but Bond Season 2 was supposed to be streamed this March. Season 1 was released 2022. I didn't even know it was on. I found it completely by accident one day. BotBots. I didn't even know they'd made a cartoon. And again, BotBots.
I did. I did, but like I said a moment ago, I tried to. Netflix, some stuff they are good at promoting, other stuff they don't.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple of animated series that I do actually recommend. Animated series, and there's one called Glitch Techs.
Mm-hmm.
That was actually in co-production with Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
And it started out as a web series, the creation of it, and they went to Netflix and they commissioned a full-on animated series, and it's actually really good. If you're a fan of video games, it's a ton of nostalgia from 80s, 8-bit, 16-bit, right up to now. A lot of like a lot of pop culture, and
What's that called
unfortunately,
again?
Sorry,
what's that called again?
Glitch Techs.
Glitch Techs. I'll have to check that out.
Well, the funny thing, the one thing I want to say about BotBots is I saw at one point that people were kind of going on about BotBots a little bit and saying that it was a lot of fun, and it's only until as it sort of just quietly was pushed to the side, the conversation has now completely faded out. So either it was there, and it's like it's there 1 minute and then it was gone the next.
Yeah, exactly. BotBots are a lot of fun, and they are designed. You've got blind boxes, you've got the whole blind opening thing on YouTube thing going on. They are designed, like gotta catch them all kind of thing. And and I love them as well. The cute little robots. I mean, one of my favorites is a hockey puck, right? And then when he turns into a robot, he's got a black eye. It's so stupid. You know what I mean? And there's one that turns into a toilet roll. And of course, there's one that turns into a rubber duck, and of course, I've got him with Megatron, so that has to work.
I've got no soap, so
yeah. I mean, the fact that it's Transformers, but they took a risk. They've done it in a different way. It's a toilet roll or a pencil or a fucking toilet, American football or a laptop or just some random bit that's now a robot. That's hilarious. And like I said, took a risk, but like you said, Sammy, just pushed it to the side.
Yeah.
So right, what we've got next is Prime. More than any particular TF show, TF needs to brand what really puts themselves out into both connect, energize the fans, as tough as that would be, and then shepherd films out carefully. Yeah, we just said that, exactly that. They need to do
what Transformers needs is what Marvel has, which is a Kevin Feige.
Yes, they need one guy in
charge. Hasbro needs the equivalent of a Kevin Feige, and it needs something like that for Transformers.
Yeah, but I think few releases I think would work to its favor better. Like, give it a couple of years, give us a really good cartoon show, and then a couple of years out, let that go run for a couple of seasons, and then go, right, we're doing a film based on that cartoon show. Great, fantastic, more of that. But just focus on the one thing instead of having this, that, other thing, all these different things all at once. And I think that's why we've gone over this earlier. That's why I think it's too much and it's spread over a wide area. You need to just consolidate it into one or two things. Boom, you're done. Okay, so we've got Prime again, and Mr. Kite personally threatened Knowles to ensure he'd do this again. John, you're getting threatened, son.
Won't be the first time I've been threatened by Adam. So.
Hello, John. Anyway.
Hello.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then we've got the dwarf porn star himself, Mr. Johnny Pierce.
Johnny.
Come on.
Hello, Johnny.
It's not working. Why isn't it working? There we are. What's happening, boys? Hope you're all well. Yeah, I'm good. Apart from I've just had the dready leggy that's going around, which has not been fun, but but yeah. Hope you're horning away there, sir. And we've got Prime again. He's popped up a lot, this guy. In fairness, supermarkets aren't making a ton of stuff off toys, hence the small shelf allocated to them. They never did anyway, even back in the day. It's just something to keep the kids happy. While mum and dad are round in the shop buying the week shop, here, kid, have a toy, shut up. And it was always like that. It's always been like that. Supreme again. Just a note, TF wasn't even utter disaster. It's positive ratings. Were welcome. It's done well on home media. Poor advertising is the non-issue, not the film. Yeah, exactly that. The film's great.
Yeah. It's just the people behind the promotion of it were not good. If there even was
still showing in the UK, is it? Still showing in the UK? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, bad promotion.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. Remember T, episode 1, Unicron destroys Cybertron. Yeah, why not have that happen and have the Transformers nomadic, and the whole galaxy hates them because they're everywhere. They're trying to settle on planets. Similar, but also different,
I think that idea could work if you do it right, and that's one of the many riskier things that I think this brand should try in a new cartoon. Really push into that area a little bit.
Yeah, what is it like? Titan AE is a prime example. Is that exact story? Where Earth gets destroyed, there's only a scattering of humans, and the rest of the galaxy hates humans, which is a great idea.
Yeah.
You could do that. You could have them search for a new home, and then they land on Earth or something like that. Yeah, it's done well. Great. Why aren't we writing this shit? We could do it. We could come up with this. Supreme Game, Average Amazon secret level episode, heavily based on the Feel of Iron, Man of Iron. Oh yeah, the Man of Iron story. Yeah, that's the first. That was a UK story.
That secret level thing was really good. That secret level series, I've watched the majority of it. It's bloody good. They did a Warhammer episode. It's bloody good.
I did. Oh
yeah.
The one thing I would say, I think that because we haven't got anything to look forward to on the horizon in regards to films, I would say if nothing else, we can look to fan-made creations and have that sort of sit in the middle. Because so the one thing I would say, if you want something that is a different story for Transformers, then I would highly recommend going to watch Transformers Cybertron Falls. It's part of a trilogy that somebody has made, and it's and the CGI in that is so cutting edge, it might as well be film quality.
I've seen it, but I've not watched it.
Yeah, I mean, part 3 is currently in the works, and it will be out in March.
All right, cool. Let's check that out. Huh? All right then, we've got James Hughes. Cheers from Canada, boys. At work and break. Just saying hi. We'll watch it home later. Hi. Yeah, enjoy. Right now, at the time of recording, we're up to 3 hours, so that's great. And then Supreme.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Tony really has got his quota of Trek inserted here. Well done. Oh yeah, got to come in. But I'm not. But I'm using that as an example. Fucking hell, I've still got loads to go. Yeah. Supreme again. Executive producer, mostly a paycheck only position. Yeah. There are other individuals on TF films just for the same reason. It's true. Patrick Stewart was a co-executive producer on Star Trek Insurrection, and he only did that to get an extra paycheck. So there we go. And then Raymond T again. Superman Lives was not Lorenzo who said it. That was John Peters. Well, I'm only going on what Kevin Smith said, but yeah, it's true though. And then Supreme, John Peters was insane, certainly was. He started out as Barbra Streisand's hairstylist and somehow smoothed his way into film production. That's an odd fucking career choice. I don't know. Cabana Wars, Power of the Primes already focused on the 13. They did all the micro.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Even
though that was also.
Again, they didn't do anything with it though. They just went, some figures. They didn't do the figures of themselves. It was just like pretender shells, which was nice to see again. But
Yeah.
So Raymond T again. No. Haley did want to talk about Bumblebee. Variety deleted her mentions of Transformers. Oh yeah, that's it. That's right. Yeah. It's been so long since. I mean, Bumblebee 7 years ago. Just so you know.
Yeah, Jesus.
Same with Tucci. Claimed to be talking about Transformers a lot. Variety deleted it all.
Seems as if
right,
the cover up, doesn't there? Sounds like a cover up.
It feels like there is. If ever feeling down about the game.
Says, yeah, when I'm feeling down about kind of stuff, I watch Dr. Smooth cartoons, rekindle my faith.
That's kind of why I would say,
Dr. Smooth.
Yeah, well, I would say if you ever seen Randall NG's working on fan made stuff, and he's working with Dr. Smooth again, and it's basically a huge tribute to G1, and it's so good, and he's doing this all by himself, and it's like, and it's like, you know what? If we're not getting anything officially made, then for the time being, fan-made creations are the way to go. Because at least with fans, they're taking risks.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at Masterpiece Reanimated. Have you seen that? You know, the G1 cartoons that are done with Masterpiece toys. That is insane work, but it looks like the cartoon, but with Masterpiece toys.
Also as well, I saw that somebody had made I don't know what you'd call it. It's a continuation of G1, the original G1 cartoon. I saw like what would happen if season 5 existed, and it's on. Okay. I can't remember the name of it. But somebody took pre-existing parts of the G1 cartoon and parts of I think Master Force and incorporated that into the story to make it feel like it was a G1 episode, and where and they explained why Starscream is back under Galvatron's control, and also the one interesting thing about that fan-made thing is that they found a way to incorporate a character like Overlord into that. What if Overlord appeared in a season 5 of G1, but he's actually but the character is actually the DNA of that character is loosely connected with Megatron and Starscream. So stuff like that exists. Yeah,
Overlord. Yeah, I mean, such a big presence in Last Stand on the Record. Have him the villain in a fucking show.
There you go.
Yeah, violent, fucking like the kind of Transformer you don't want to mess with. Overlord would be perfect villain.
And I know this might be a thing. I know some people, and again, some fans don't like it, but you're going to get that with everything, unfortunately. But it's a sad continuity that I've always really liked, and Shattered Glass.
That's fine.
Even though Shattered Glass has... This is a thing, like I said, it's not going to work for everybody, but what I find is a different approach.
Yeah. It is.
And the fact it's the Mirrorverse, where the point is the Autobots are bad, the Decepticons are good. And it's a different idea.
No, you're right.
There's other stories you could bring into that.
The thing with that, though, going back to Star Trek, because they've done a lot of Mirror Universe stuff, is you can have, say, for example, Star Trek Enterprise did it. They had an episode set entirely in the Mirror Universe with different title sequence, the whole works. You could throw that into a season of a Transformers show, but I don't think you could have it as a whole season.
Standalone.
No, it's one of those. It's one of those things that could only work for one episode.
Yeah, one or two, and you could pop them in and out occasionally, once in a while. Yeah. But I don't think it would work as a show. Comics, you can do it in a comic book form, but as a show, again, it's a risk, like you say, and they need to take risk. But that's one of the risks where if it's really taking the source material and turning on its head, and it's doing it in a way that even the normies out there will go, "What's this? Why are the Autobots bad?" That sort of thing. Why is Optimus Prime a bad guy? It's not going to work that way. But again, for a single episode of a show, absolutely all work. You can even have, like I say, once a season, go back to it and stuff. But I think the whole multiverse thing is done now. It's getting to a point now where everything is multiverse, and I'm getting a bit tired of fucking seeing it.
I agree. I agree with me.
One of the best examples of that, again, going back to Star Trek, is an episode of Next Generation called Parallels, where they go to different universes. That is one of the best versions of a multiverse story. If you've not seen it, watch it. Season 7. Right, so next one we've got, Gareth again, the cuts between the UK and US release, more edits, just a knife sword, except knife sword edit, okay? So Prime might seem he wrote a ton, but this was over 2 hours. Okay. Raymond T, shout out to Randall NG.
Yeah.
I think we're caught up now. And then Raymond T again. Fantastic film. G1 returns. Yes, let's do that.
Yeah. So I think right now, just to tie us over, the landscape of Transformers media is going to be quite quiet for a while because with the movies not coming out anymore, with Earthspark kind of on its way out, and with anything related to Cyberworld not coming out or being released until the end of the year, or maybe even at the start of next year, we've got a variety of things to keep us going for the time being, and especially if we need anything that's different, fan-made creations are, I think, the way to go for now. And there are plenty out there that have been made that are, light years ahead of anything that's been made officially. So,
oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. So, well, I think 3 hours. I think that's come to the end. I think.
Yes.
Well, big shout out to you boys for joining me tonight. Thank you.
Thank you for having me part of this. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I think I'm going to make this reasonably regular. So if you want to pop in, let us know. We'll make it.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Like I say, I'm going to start doing some more live stream stuff as well. So, I mean, I'm happy to do something similar on my channel as well as John.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, I'm going to make
Tony as well and whatever.
Yeah, I'm going to make it a regular feature, and I think sometimes it's just nice to get things off your chest a bit and aerate it as well.
It's good to have a discussion and not have an argument at the same time. You can discuss things without an argument.
Yeah, of course you can. That's exactly what you know.
That's what I mean.
You're all wrong, by the way. No, I'm joking. So, Sammy, if you would like people to follow you, where can they follow you?
Right. If you want to follow me, you can find me on Blue Sky at Blue Sky Skullgrim140. I'm still on Twitter, which I'm Skullgrim14022. I'm on Instagram on Skullgrim140. I'm all over the place. I am either Skullgrim140 or Skullgrim14022. Hook me up, message me, do whatever you want. I'm around. So
cool. John, where can people find you? After the bike shoots. Told you about that before.
Well, just don't go down any dark alleys after 11.
No,
anyway,
Sam. Sam Maltby, by the way.
You can find me here on YouTube under TF Nosey, as it says right there, or John Knowles Vlogs, which is my other channel. Also, John Knowles on Facebook. I'm on X, aka Twitter, as John K _1989, and I'm on Instagram as well under TF Nosey. So yeah, that's where you can find me if you wish. Drop me a line or comment or whatever. Yeah.
Cyberstalk. Well, thanks for watching. You can catch me every Thursday and Saturday for my regular reviews. Check out my Patreon. I've got some cool rewards over there. Check me out on my socials, which will be somewhere around. And everything's just Sam with SG1. You'll find me. You see this boat race, you found me. And I will catch you all every day, pretty much on social media. But I'll catch everyone. See you soon. Thanks for watching. It's been a blast. And I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you soon.